everybody. How are you this evening? Welcome to the channel if you've not been here before. My name is Elizabeth and I am your friendly hillbilly host. And this is Hillbilly Crime. We've got Sweet Tater here with us. This is my mom. How are you, Sweet Tater?
Well, I'm just fine. I'm just so proud to be here, to be able to do this and let you tell people about these crimes. I'm not much into crime, and I don't know very much about them, but boy, you sure know a lot. It's real interesting.
It is. Well, I kind of think that we all really need to know how the criminal justice system works. And
well, it's educational. We need to know so we know to protect ourselves, how to protect ourselves better.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the case that we're going to look at this evening is the Maddie Soto case. Now, she was from Kissimmee, Florida, and it's a very, very sad case. But one of the reasons why I think it has been so attention grabbing, I guess maybe for lack of a better phrase or word, is the controversy about the mother. Okay, so I'm going to start. A lot of channels have already covered this. I kind of thought that it had been covered enough, but the more people that I spoke to and talked to had absolutely no idea what I was talking about with this case. So we're going to try and share this with a whole new group of people who may not know anything about it. All right, so this happened at the beginning of this year. I'm just going to look at this one first because I think this is a really great timeline of everything. It's an article that's titled, "Here's Where Things Stand in the Madeline Soto Case 8 months Later." This is a picture of little Maddie. And let me start with the article. This picture was taken on her 13th birthday at her 13th birthday party, and she went missing the very next day. So we think she was unalived this night, the night that this picture was taken. And then they reported her missing on February 26th. And then her body was found on March the 3rd. So let's read it. It says, around 8 months after the body of missing Florida 13-year-old Madeline Soto was officially recovered, there are still plenty of questions regarding her death. However, investigators have still managed to uncover plenty of details about the case over the past months, shedding light on what happened. As the investigation continues, below is a timeline of events stemming back to her initial disappearance. February 26th was day one. Madeline Soto was reported missing around 8 p.m. after Stephan Sterns, her mother's boyfriend, reportedly dropped her off near Hunters Creek Middle School. Earlier that morning, Soto's mother was woken up when Sterns took the dog out for a walk, but she went back to sleep. She never saw Soto that morning. At some point during the day, Sterns told Soto's mother that he had factory reset his phone while trying to update it. Soto's mother went to the school around 4:30 p.m. to pick up her daughter, but she was told that Soto had never come to school that day, according to investigators. In addition, Soto's phone was left at home. While Soto had a tendency to run away, this was unusual for her. And we'll watch this little video here. Several.
Hello, Orange County Sheriff's Office.
Deputies go door to door in search of missing 13-year-old Madeline Soto.
Hi, have you seen this child?
No.
She's been missing yesterday since 8:30 a.m. in the morning.
I have not seen her.
Less than a week later, authorities found Soto's body in these woods just outside St. Cloud. Investigators say the 13-year-old had been sexually molested and then strangled to death by her mother's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns. In this video series, we'll show you how law enforcement investigated the teenager's disappearance, and you'll see what prosecutors are doing to seek justice for Madeline.
Do you need police, fire, or medical?
Police, possibly. I'm reporting a missing child.
On February 26, deputies were called to this office near Soto's school where a relative happens to work.
Hey there.
Hey there. What's going on?
So my daughter was dropped off close to school this morning, but never made it.
Here they met Soto's mother, Jennifer, and Jennifer's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns.
Didn't make it to school.
Didn't make it to school. I went to pick her up from school today,
Okay.
and she never came out. I got an email from the school saying she was absent, but I also messaged her teacher, and he looked at her entire attendance today and saw that she was completely not at school today either.
Okay.
So she never made it.
The couple told deputies what Madeline had been wearing.
Green hoodie,
Green hoodie,
white Crocs,
white Crocs,
either blue or black pants.
I think black shorts.
Black shorts?
Yeah.
black shorts. Okay. And when was the last time you seen her? Do you know what time?
Around 8:30, 8:40 when we dropped her off.
Although you heard Sterns say we dropped her off, he and Jennifer Soto later told investigators that Sterns was by himself when he brought Madeline to school. Sterns says the 13-year-old was embarrassed of his car and wanted to be dropped off right here, a few blocks away from Hunters Creek Middle School and right across the street from a church.
So it's like around where these communities were,
Okay.
and it's just like in this strip.
That night, Sterns showed deputies the spot where he says Madeline got out of his car, a silver Lincoln MKZ.
When I left her, she was on the other side of the street, rummaging through her backpack and just kind of moving towards the school area, so it looked normal.
It's going to be hard to tell whether she went left or right.
A sheriff's K9 was brought out and given some of Madeline's clothing to sniff in hopes of tracking where she might have gone.
I don't know if she was trying to walk back home on her own or she was trying to go to her friend's house.
But after 15 minutes of searching, the K9 was unable to pick up Madeline's scent.
So weird. I'm going to find people, bro. It's your job. Literally your only job. Finding people.
At the nearby church, a deputy viewed surveillance video that showed a girl being dropped off that morning.
Wait, there's a person getting out of the car.
Due to privacy laws, authorities have put a black box over the computer monitor so we cannot see the video ourselves. But detectives later showed it to Madeline's mother, Jennifer Soto.
I mean, the quality's terrible.
She could not say whether the video showed her daughter or Sterns' silver Lincoln.
Does that look familiar at all?
No.
You don't know that anywhere?
I don't know that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Detectives questioned Madeline's friends at Hunters Creek Middle School.
She had never told me about anything about her running away other than her saying if she were to run away, she'd go into the woods.
But they did not know where the 13-year-old might be.
What can I do for you?
We're here regarding a missing juvenile. She's been missing since a missing juvenile.
Deputies canvassing nearby neighborhoods could not find any witnesses.
Hello, have you seen this girl?
No.
Madeline celebrated her 13th birthday with relatives the night before she vanished. Her mom, Jennifer, was at work and did not attend the party, but says she caught up with Madeline at the condo they shared with Sterns.
So you last saw her Sunday night about what time?
I would say 11 p.m. before she went to bed.
And you were here at home? Gotcha. And where did she go to bed? Was she in her room, your room, or something else?
We were all going to sleep together in the same bed, but I needed some good sleep. I got a new job recently. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep. So I asked, hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs?
These crime scene photos show that guest bedroom, which has one bed in the corner and locks on the door. Sterns told police he and Madeline went to sleep here and then got up early the next morning for school.
Woke up around 7:15, somewhere around there, which is an early start for us, but shoot, we had talked about getting McDonald's breakfast beforehand, so we wanted to make good time. We did make good time. We got out the door maybe 7:30, 7:45, maybe. Got over to that area. She was asleep in the car most of the time, just snoozing until we got there.
When they got to this McDonald's, Sterns told detectives that Madeline was no longer hungry. So he says he continued down the road to Hunters Creek Middle School, about a mile away from here. After dropping Madeline off at school, Sterns says he went to a vape shop across town and then back to the condo. Next on Justice for Madeline, we'll take you room by room inside that condo. You'll hear Jennifer Soto describe her family's sleeping arrangements, and we'll show you why detectives believe some.
Okay. That's the first video that they have. And then February 27th, this was day 2. We have so many interviews, police interviews and audio files to listen to with this case. And before I finish that, let me just go back and make a couple little comments here. So the mother, she had been in this relationship with this man for many, many years. So this was Madeline's 13th birthday, and he had been in her life since Maddie was like 6 or 7, something like that. And he had, we're going to find out later, he had started abusing her. They really don't know when it started, but because of the digital evidence that they found on his phone, the videos and the pictures go back to when she was like 8 years old. So he had been doing bad things to her for a very long time. And her mother just acts completely, oblivious to it all. And apparently they had been together. They broke up. He went back to live with his mom and dad. And then this night, the night of her birthday party, was the first night he had come back in several weeks or something. And so the mother went to work. The grandmother had the birthday party that the boyfriend was not invited to. He did not get along with the family, so he was not invited to the birthday party. They take Maddie and drop her off at home, and she meets him at the apartment. And so let me go back and finish reading that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. All right, day 2. The Orange County Sheriff's Office issued a release to the public about Soto's disappearance, asking for information about her whereabouts. In an interview with investigators, Sterns was asked about where exactly he dropped Soto off and where he went afterward. So normally mom always drops Maddie off at school and picks her up, but for some reason they have told that she didn't have good sleep or whatever, so she was wanting to sleep in the next morning. So they planned on him taking Maddie to school, which he never does, or very rarely does. So gets up the next morning to take her to school. And that's where this kind of goes haywire. Throughout the conversation, detectives questioned some of Sterns' answers, seemingly prompted Sterns to change his story. And this is his interview.
With Stephan Sterns. I know that you already spoke to the other detective, right, about everything that kind of happened today. If you can just kind of go over it with us one more time, the timeline from like when you guys woke up and took her to school and all that.
So we woke up early. The plan was that we were going to get McDonald's breakfast on the way, so we made amazingly good time.
I don't mean to interrupt you, okay? Neither of us were here yesterday, so if you can be kind of like specific about like times and stuff like that, okay?
Woke up around 7:15, somewhere around there, which is an early start for us, but we had talked about getting McDonald's breakfast beforehand, so we wanted to make good time. We did make good time. We got out the door maybe 7:30, 7:45-ish maybe. Got over to that area. She was asleep in the car most of the time, just snoozing until we got there. Got to McDonald's. We're close to McDonald's. I said, "Do you still want it?" She wasn't interested in the McDonald's anymore, so we continued on. And she wanted to be dropped off a little down the ways from the school. She's got this phase that she's been into lately where she's very particular about what car she's seen getting out of in front of the school. She prefers her mom's car, but my cars are, I guess, kind of hoopties. I get it. It's an image thing. But that was sometime probably between 8:20 and 8:40-ish, somewhere in there. It was along the stretch of the road that on the right side that has all the communities on it before you get to the overpass. You could see the overpass from where it was. So it was on that side, on that stretch of road, and that's where I dropped her off. She said she was going to go wait for her friends. She was going to go find them and hang out and wait for her friends. And I asked if that was going to be okay. She said, yeah, it's fine. Kids get dropped off early enough as it is, so it's not totally unusual for that to happen. It's just not usually that early that I drop her off. I do school runs every once in a while for her. I said, okay. Let her out. Have a good day. Love you. Thanks. Love you too. And I turned around and was driving away and was watching her in my rearview mirror, making sure that she was going where she was supposed to go. And she was moving in that direction, but she was rummaging around in her backpack or something. What I assumed was probably headphones or something like that, but I find out later that she forgot her phone here, so she may have been rummaging for her phone. But she was still kind of making her way towards that direction, so it looked okay. It looked like any other day. And I just continued on.
Okay. When you said you dropped her off, like in the area, kind of like where exactly did you drop her off?
So if you pull down the street going towards the school, you've got that whole strip of communities on the right side there. It was in that stretch of sidewalk there. We pulled in and maybe about halfway up the street or so, and she was like, right here's good.
Was it like in one of the apartment complexes, the church?
Not in, it was outside one of the apartment. It was just on the sidewalk on the side of the road there, just like a tuck and roll, you know?
Okay, so like if I were to be on the road, where, like what do you remember seeing that you dropped her off at?
I remember the overpass is up ahead. The sidewalk was on the right, row of trees. There's, I think, a median in the middle. And then there was another community maybe across from that before you get to the church. So it was like before the church.
So Town Loop Boulevard's that street that connects to the school.
Yeah.
Is that the one
Yes.
that?
And where's the school located here?
The school's right here.
School's right there. Okay, so the school would be on the left in this case. Here's the
So you
overpass
guys
I was
came from
talking
this side?
about. Yeah, we came from Town Loop, I think, which is Town Center. Yeah, so we made a right here and then pulled somewhere about.
So you came from Town Center and turned onto Town Loop.
Yeah, where's the church? Is this the church here?
There is that's the church.
Okay, so we weren't up to the church yet. So we were pulled onto here, and then we pulled maybe about halfway up here, and I dropped her off somewhere in this area here.
And she walked from there to the school?
Yeah.
It's a pretty long way.
It's maybe a block or so, but it's not out of the ordinary for her. She likes to do that sometimes. She likes the cold weather. She's wearing her hoodie. She likes the cold walk.
So you dropped her off near Lilac? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it wasn't at a cross street. It was just a bit of the sidewalk there.
So did you merge into the sidewalk, or did you stop in the middle of the street, or?
I just pulled over to the sidewalk there. Let her hop out.
How often do you drop her off?
This might be the 5th or 6th time I've ever done it.
Okay. And when you drop her off, where do you normally drop her off at?
Normally down the street from the school. She requests that a lot.
Like the same area or somewhere else?
Especially if it's sometimes in the church parking lot, sometimes just wherever she tells us to let her out. as long as it's close, you know.
So it's halfway between Town Loop and Town Center and the church?
Yeah, it's just in this stretch right here. Like we got about maybe halfway up and
Okay.
it was there.
McDonald's that you guys were gonna stop at. Did you pull into the plaza at any point?
No, she 86 the idea before we even got there.
What do you mean by 86?
Poo-pooed the idea, didn't want it anymore.
Okay.
Wasn't in the mood anymore.
At any point while you were driving to the school, did you make a U-turn?
Yeah, I tried to sell her on McDonald's one more time because I was still kind of hungry, but at that point she was also just wanting to get to school.
Okay.
So
Where
she turned right back around.
Where did you make that U-turn at?
Actually, the school park, not the school parking lot, the church parking lot. I pulled into that, turned around and pulled back out. Did a U there and went back to the McDonald's. And she still wasn't having it. And that's when we came back. See, the McDonald's is on the same town loop or town center. It connects to the same road that the
school's on?
Yeah,
So
so it's like a straight shot.
So you guys came from, just so I can kind of get a good visualization, Town Center, and where did you come from, Town Center?
Town center. So where's the McDonald's? I'm so bad at reading these. I'm sorry. So we
This
came.
is all Town Center.
So we came across on Town Loop, I believe. Is that the school is that the road that the school is on?
No, this is Town Center. So you
Okay.
said you were on Town Center, and then you made a right on Town Loop, which is
Yeah.
the one that takes you to the school,
Yes, correct.
right?
I think you passed it.
But what I'm saying is, before Town Loop, or I'm sorry, for Town Center, what street did you take?
I'm so sorry. I'm bad with the streets around here.
How do you usually get to the school?
I just take John Young and then wait till I see the McDonald's and make a left there and then follow that around, and that goes straight into the road that the school is on. Just use the landmarks, and I don't memorize the street names.
Is that JYP?
Yeah, so this is JYP.
I mean, at the McDonald's, you turned right?
And then you said you made a left at the McDonald's? So that's
so
Jungyoung Parkway, you're going north
left
on
at
Jungyoung.
McDonald's and then go around, and then that shoots straight into the road that she's on.
Okay. Because that's...
I believe that's the correct road.
Yeah, well, that's the fastest way to get there. But you told me you came from Town Center and Town Loop.
I'm sorry, I don't know the street names.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm doing my
no,
best.
that's okay. So now that we know that you came from Jungyoung Parkway and you made a left on Town Loop, so you passed the
So,
McDonald's.
yeah, that was when she said no to McDonald's the first time.
Okay. So you guys keep on going on Town Loop.
Yeah. But at that point, we still had a lot of time to kill. Very early.
So what did you guys do?
Drove towards the school, made a U-turn, came back, tried to do the McDonald's thing again. She didn't want it.
So where did you,
I
one more
did
time,
give
where
her-
did you do the U-turn at?
It probably was right by the church because it was still way too early for school. So it was on that stretch of road. I mean, they had the meeting there and the separation, so that left turn where the church is, you can make a U-turn there.
And then after you dropped her off, what did you do?
Stayed, talked to her for a minute, made sure, is it all right that you're going early? Because it was still early. She said, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to hang out and wait for my friends to get there, which she does sometimes, so it didn't sound, That was it. Told her to have a good day. I loved her. She told me she loved me too. I turned around to leave, and I was watching her in my rearview mirror. And she looked like she was walking in the right direction. She was rummaging in her bag a little bit, like I said, but still sort of just shambling in the right direction while she was doing it. So it looked normal. It looked okay.
Okay, and then what did you do after you left the area?
I left to go to the local vape shop because I needed some more vape juice. They weren't quite open yet, so I ended up going back home. Waited about an hour or so, and then went back to the vape shop again. It was open, so I got what I needed there. And came back.
Do you remember what time you came home?
The first time was probably right around 10, close to it. And I waited here and went back to the vape shop. Probably finished at the vape shop and came back home again a little after 11.
Okay. You said the first time that you hung out was a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Was there when you got here at 10? Okay.
I think so. She might have been at her blood appointment. Let me double check.
Bless you.
No, she had a blood appointment.
I
at some
know,
point
it's
during the
awful.
day.
It's okay. We don't have to ask her right now.
Sorry, everything's a blur.
So she might have been here. She might have not have been here
I
the first time.
believe she was here because she was sleeping in as much as she possibly could. She's been messed up with a new work schedule, so she had to be.
I'm trying to pause this because my computer is acting all crazy. Is it lagging? Like, do you guys, is it jumping around? Let's see. Give me just a second and let me see. I think that audio might be dragging down my stuff. Does it all look all right to you, Zelmy?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my goodness. Are you going to make it?
Yeah. I just got something in my throat there for a minute.
Work schedule, so she had to be here. She didn't want to sleep in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll double check, but yeah, I believe she was here.
And then what time did you say you left again to the smoke shop?
Maybe after an hour or so, maybe 11 or so.
Okay. And then what time did you get to the smoke shop?
It's maybe 10 minutes away, so not long after that. Stopped in, got some juice, and
What's the name of the smoke shop?
Eastman Broadway.
Okay.
It's just over off of John Young. It's not far from the school.
And then after the smoke shop, what did you do? Okay, for how long?
At least until maybe 12:30, 4:45-ish, something like that.
And then what did you do after that?
I had a couple errands to run over on 192. She was talking about making a BJA shopping list. She just wanted to make sure I was back in time for us to both go pick up. So I was visiting some card shops around the area on 192. I'm kind of a nerd, so we had a new trading card game release, and I was seeing what the situation was with it.
Do you remember what places you visited?
Yeah, Coliseum of Comics. Stopped by a couple Targets, and I was going to go to House Rules Games down by Oak and 192,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't make it that far. I got a flat tire on the way.
Do you remember where you got your flat tire?
It was on 192. I pulled into one of those plazas somewhere. It's been about 10 years since I switched out a tire, though, so I made a
I'm trying to get back over here. It's giving me a hard time. Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit there, Mom? How was your day?
Well, my day was just wonderful. I didn't do too much today, just the regular stuff, and take care of my kitty cats and maybe do a little bit on my plants or something like that. But I've been watching movies.
You've been watching movies.
Yes, I've been watching this series that's called residents. You know, about they have these it's a doctor's story. And actually, I sort of enjoy it. It's not real realistic and it's not real funny, but they try to be funny. I just sort of like it. The characters are kind of endearing.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that you found you something that you like to watch. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to cover this case, and just how the investigation has gone and stuff, because of the controversy on her mother. And what I want to kind of talk about with everybody is, what do you all think our duties are as a mother? Now, I know that a lot of times things happen that we're not aware of, and I'm not saying that it's anybody's fault, but except for the predator's fault. It's their fault. It's not the child, it's not the parents. But as a parent, as a mother, especially a single mother with children, with little children, you can't just send your kids to a bedroom with a grown man to go sleep in the same bed with them and continue to live that way as like a practice, you know, and not think that something could happen, you know. Now, I know that we're going to have lots of opinions on this case. Some think that the mom should be charged criminally, and some think that she shouldn't. So we're going to have disagreements on how we view this case, and that's okay. We can all disagree. We can agree to disagree, and we can love each other. Just be kind to each other. But okay, so let me pull this up and let me read this one real fast. This one's a little small one. I think that other one was dragging my computer down too much. So let's see. I'll pull this one here up and we'll look at it. And hopefully it won't do the same thing. I've got, I reached out to one of our other YouTubers and asked if they had some of these recordings and stuff that I could download. And so I'm waiting to get those. And then I'll have it all myself, and I can just put it up that way instead of sharing my screen this way on these articles. We can go a little deeper into it. This one's from Fox 35. Kissimmee police have revealed new information in the ongoing investigation into the red rum of Maddie, who authorities believe was unalived by Stephan Sterns. In interviews conducted shortly after Maddie was reported missing, police spoke with Angelica Negro. Now, this was a roommate. The way that their home life was, so they lived, Maddie and her mommy lived in a townhome in Florida, and it was her father's rental property. And so she had a couple of female roommates who also lived in this townhome. Now, the roommates all had bedrooms upstairs. Maddie's mommy, Jennifer, had a big bedroom downstairs, and they had turned the living room into a makeshift bedroom for Maddie. It just had like a little divider up to separate her room from the living room. But she never spent the night in her room. According to her mommy, they all slept in the same bed together. And Jenn said that she put Maddie in the middle. So Maddie always slept in the middle of this big bed, and her mommy slept on one side and her mommy's boyfriend slept on the other side. And that's apparently how they slept from day one of their relationship. So she was used to sleeping in the bed with this man from as a child. Let me get back over here to it. And so this is an interview with one of Jenn's roommates. Her answers were given in Spanish and then translated by a detective. According to police, Sterns had allegedly placed a hidden camera under Negro's door. This is the roommate. And secretly took nude photos of her. Recordings of her interviews with detectives reveal the moment she learned about Sterns' actions and how it shifted her perception of him. Negro lived with Jenn and Maddie Soto, and Sterns occasionally stayed with them. When detectives asked about Sterns sleeping alone with his girlfriend's 13-year-old daughter, Maddie Negro confirmed she had witnessed this, explaining they had a father-daughter type relationship. The night before Maddie was reported missing, Negro recalled hearing something coming from Sterns' room, which continued until she fell asleep. She also noted that Sterns was behaving unusually. She noticed something odd about him because of the way he was moving around the house, she said. Negro also saw 3 tools on the table, one of which was a hammer. Sterns was also washing clothes, something she said he never did. Negro didn't recognize the other tools, but mentioned hearing something the following morning that caught her attention. Monday morning, inside the house, she heard something that sounded like a power tool, she told detectives. When Jenn Soto asked Sterns about the tools, he replied that he was finishing up a project, though he did not specify what the project was. Later in the interview, detectives informed Negro that they had found nude photos of her on Sterns' phone, allegedly taken without her knowledge. So he was a peeping Tom, too. When asked to confirm if the photos were of her, she hesitated, and detective remarked, "I take that as a yes." Reflecting on the discovery, Negro admitted that her view of Sterns had changed. Prior to seeing these photos, she couldn't believe he could do something or hurt Maddie. Now, seeing these photos, yeah, he's capable of anything, obviously, the detective translated. Police have not yet filed charges against Sterns for the illegal recording of his roommate. So they initially charged him. So whenever they reported her missing, they went to do a search of their phones, and he voluntarily gave his phone to them. And he said, "Oh, well, I need to tell you, I accidentally factory reset my phone today." So, but of course, you know that doesn't work. So they took his phone in, they dumped it, and apparently, from what I understand, even though he factory reset his phone, all of his videos and pictures and stuff synced to his cloud, maybe his Google Cloud or whatever. So they found all of the videos and the pictures. So they came in and they arrested him on the Csam stuff that they found on his phone. And then on March 3rd, they ended up finding her body. So they ended up charging him for her death too, but they're separate cases. So that he's going to have 2 completely different trials in this case. Let's see what this is the police interview with Stephan Sterns. Let's see if we can get through this.
The Fox 35 Care Force. It's our commitment to Central Florida.
The largest walk in the country.
We're helping over 1,000
When I have
families
all
with
the
full Thanksgiving baskets
material
this year.
myself,
The Fox
we won't
35
have to
Care
look at it this
Depend on us.
If anything, she was a little bit more open with Stephan.
New video of the mother of Maddie Soto being asked the hard questions.
I feel like when you gave the interview with Fox 35, it was not sincere.
We've learned detectives use this interview we got with Jenn Soto the day after the 13-year-old went missing.
At that point is when I called 911 because I realized something was truly wrong.
To ask her what she knew about the murder of her daughter.
Looking at that video one time, I didn't feel like your cries were sincere.
Detectives pushing and pushing her to answer the burning question.
What do you think made him snap?
But Jenn finding it hard to believe that her boyfriend could do any of the crimes he's accused of doing.
I want to believe she's still alive and that she got kidnapped, but that doesn't seem like that's the case at all.
Jenn Soto's boyfriend is the only person charged in Maddie's death. He was arrested 2 days before Maddie's body was found in a field.
The detectives were not convinced that Stephan Sterns acted alone, though. They pressured Jenn about when she jumped to his defense, even after they showed photos of Sterns allegedly abusing her daughter. Here's a portion of that interview.
I don't believe a lot of the things you're saying, and I don't believe a lot of the things you say you weren't aware of. Not what the did he do? Hey, we need to figure out what happened. No, let's protect Stephan.
I wasn't shocked.
No, it's not shock. That is your natural instinct to protect Stephan. And my fear is that sense of guilt is causing you to not want to assist in the location of her.
Oh no. If I knew anything, I would so tell you. I don't care about him. I want him to go to jail. I want the worst thing possible to happen to him in jail. I know what happens to predators in jail. Like, I'm ready for that. Like, please.
In a separate interview room, detectives asked Stephan Sterns about where he was and what he was doing the day Maddie disappeared. They warned him that they already searched his phone and even begged him to tell them more. But he stayed tight-lipped.
Stephan, here's what I'm asking you and pleading with you is to dig down, do some soul searching. I don't want you to discredit yourself by saying you don't know about all the pictures that are on your phone.
Should I be talking with a lawyer right now?
Again, as of today, Jenn Soto has not been charged with a crime. Sterns has a status hearing in about a month.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Later in, I already read that part. Okay. Let's see.
Need more.
Pull that out. And we'll go look at this other one. Once I get all of the material, it'll be easier for us to look through that stuff. Okay, let's listen.
I was at work. I just started a new job last week or the week before.
Okay. Where's that at?
Walt Disney World at Coronado Springs, front desk concierge.
Okay.
I was finishing up my last day of, no, it wasn't even my last day of training. I was still in the middle of training. Sunday in the middle of training, I couldn't miss to go to her birthday party. So I went to work. It was my family all day. She had the best day. She was so happy when I got home and I saw her. At my house around 8:30 that night. I wasn't home. She got dropped off alone. About 10 to 15 minutes later, Stephan showed up
At your house in Kissimmee.
at my house in Kissimmee. He called me, or he texted me. I'm not sure, but he let me know he was there, and that she was getting ready for bed. She was doing her routine, so she took her nighttime meds, and she got in the shower to get ready for bed.
What meds? What does she take?
She takes hydroxyzine.
Okay. What is it for?
It's for anxiety and for sleep.
Okay.
Now, could she take that by herself, or would he have given that to her?
I think she took it by herself. She got home and she had already taken it.
How do you know that?
That's what he told me.
That's what he told you. Okay.
He was there when you got home? You got home, they were already at the apartment? Okay.
I don't like her taking her meds without somebody visually seeing, watching her, because I don't want her to accidentally grab the wrong pill. She's comfortable enough to grab the pill while, but I'm like, no, I need to watch you take them.
Has there ever been an issue with that in the past, where she took too many or took the wrong thing? Or just like a thought in your mind?
No, just a thought in my mind, just me being hypervigilant. I want to physically watch her take her meds and watch her grab two, take them. I don't ever want there to be an accident of she took too many, or she took, my biggest fear is that she would take Adderall by accident, her daytime meds.
Got it.
I got home around 10:30. I started getting ready for bed myself. I started eating and taking my meds, because I have to take meds. When I went to take my meds, I realized, oh my God, I forgot to take my Saturday night's meds, which is why I felt so weird and so abnormal and not myself Sunday while I was at work. Everyone at work noticed I was acting different and not being myself. Like, I couldn't smile in front of the guests. I felt this wave of depression that I haven't felt in years. It was my bipolar symptoms coming up again that I've been medicating myself for all this time. I realized I forgot to take my meds, and I said, you guys, I need a good night's sleep.
Something I'd like to stop and say about this is, if you guys notice, they talk about taking their meds all the time. Like, she was on a ton of medicine, and they even had Maddie on a bunch of medicine, and Stephan was on a bunch of medicine. And in some of these interviews, he talks about how he had ran out of medicine, and he had come all the way up there to Jenn's, and once he got at Jenn's, she had medicine, so she was sharing her meds with him. And he says in one of those interviews that he was all medicated. He was way medicated. He couldn't remember anything because he had been so medicated. And they asked him what he was taking, and I think he was taking like Valium or something like that he was getting from her.
I need to take my meds. I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep. Suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together, but not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks. We have a king size bed, and she typically sleeps on one side, and she'll end up on my side when we wake up.
Okay.
So I asked her, I'm like, no, please, I need a good night's sleep. If you guys can go upstairs and let me sleep. I had asked Stephan to take her to school in the morning.
We'll go to Sunday. So Sunday you took your meds. What meds, if you don't mind me asking, what meds do you take? And like, how does it put you to sleep deep? Does it help you fall asleep, or does it help regulate you? What kind of happens when you take the meds?
So they do all of the above. They make me sleepy. They help me stay asleep, and they help me function. I'm stable all day. They only work well if I've got a good night's sleep and if I've eaten with them the night before when I take them, or the night I take them. The medication is called Csam. Generic brand is called zifrazidone.
I took my meds, and then I told them to start getting ready for bed, to start heading upstairs and get ready because it was already almost 11 o'clock. It's past her bedtime. She needs to go to sleep. So I sent them upstairs. I think he may have come down at one point to pee before bed, and then he went back upstairs. He uses my restroom because the roommates upstairs don't want to share a restroom with a male. Yeah, so he uses my restroom. Sorry, where did
You're fine. Sunday night he came downstairs, maybe overnight to use the restroom.
Yeah, and then he went back upstairs and they went to sleep. Or where I think they went to sleep.
Okay.
I went to sleep. I was woken up at some time. For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready for school. But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark. And I was very sleepy when I got up. I was kind of drunk. But he came in to walk the dog, to put the leash on the dog and walk him.
Was the dog in the room with you?
Yes.
So did he wake you up on purpose, or was it just kind of like the causation of him opening the door and you realizing somebody was there?
Yeah, the causation of him putting the leash on the dog, because the way the dog reacted, he gets very nervous and will urinate. If you put the leash on him too directly, you have to like be nice and talk to him. Yeah, he's a very, he's a nervous dog, yeah. So I got up to try to help him and he said, no, go back to sleep. I'm fine, I got this. And I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. So I laid back down and went to sleep. I heard noise in the kitchen, but I'm not sure who it could have been getting ready, but it could have been Stephan, it could have been any of my roommates. I fell asleep again and I didn't wake up, I think, until 9 o'clock in the morning.
Did you ever leave the bedroom in that time frame?
No.
So he came in, you were kind of woken up based on him interacting with the dog, but you stayed in bed, you didn't leave the bedroom. So if you woke up at like 9, so you never.
That morning.
Monday morning.
No.
So the last time you would have been Sunday evening?
Sunday.
Okay. You're fine. Take a minute. Okay? While you take a minute, I was going to ask you earlier, has anybody reached out to you during the time that you've been investigating this? So had anything else? Negative, positive, neutral?
My best friends have all been in contact with me, just trying to help me. There's like, setting up Facebook groups, flyers,
No negative interactions with the public or anything? Nobody's like reached out with tips or accusations or anything like that?
not that I've seen. I've been avoiding social media because my family's telling me to not go on.
Would you be okay with our digital people looking at your phone to verify there's no stuff coming into socials, text, things like that?
That's fine.
Do you have the phone?
Yeah.
What they'll do is they'll plug it in, they'll do a forensic download of it so they have the data. That way they can go through it and say, we did receive things, we didn't receive things, here's the communications in and out, things like that, so we can verify that for you.
That's fine.
Do you have a password on it?
030288.
030288.
Is that a birthday?
My birthday.
It's your birthday?
Yeah.
My birthday's tomorrow. Right.
Today's the 1st.
Ugh.
Sorry, I forgot I muted myself. Okay, so let me say it again. I think this is the interview that they did before they found Maddie's body. So they had already arrested Stephan and they had found all of the videos and the pictures, but they had not found her body at the time of this interview.
Then we can get that going so we can get it back to you before.
This was the day
So
of
you
the
said
press
about 9
conference.
o'clock on Monday, you wake up.
Yeah. I wake up. I have a doctor's appointment. I leave sometime between 9:30 and 9:45. And I head over there. It's blood work appointment. The appointment's for 10:15, but they take a while to see me.
Where was your appointment at?
LabCorp. And do you want me to tell you exactly which one?
Sure.
Oh wait, I'm not my phone.
When we get it back, we'll.
It's. If you need to Google it, it's the LabCorp across the street from the Loop in Kissimmee.
Okay, by the Loop, got it.
Had my appointment. I finished there sometime between 11:15 or 11:15. Then I headed home. When I got home, Stephan was there. I had talked to him a little bit earlier while I was waiting for my blood work appointment, and he let me know, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I left my phone at home by accident. School, everything went great. She got up super early, got up really quick. She slept most of the way in the car.
Make great
I asked her multiple times if she wanted McDonald's, but she said no. Because that was the plan, was that they were gonna stop at McDonald's that morning and go get breakfast.
Okay.
He said that he had gone to the bake shop and they were closed and they didn't open. So he waited there for a while and left, and then said he was gonna go back later. When I saw him at the house, everything was normal. We were chatting, we were talking. He was acting normal. He was sitting in my computer chair, just messing around on his phone. While we were hanging out, he mentioned something along the lines of, "Oh man, I've been avoiding this phone update for a really long time. I should probably update it now." And I said, "Do it. Don't avoid it. Just get it over with." And he updates his phone and then tells me, "Oh my God, I don't know what button I just pressed, but I just factory reset my entire phone." And I said, "How the hell does that happen? That gives you options now when you reset your phone?" He goes, "Yeah, apparently I wasn't paying attention and I just pressed the button and it happened." And I said, "Oh, that's unfortunate. That sucks."
And your daughter's missing, by the way. They're having that conversation.
Later on, he tells me he's going to go back out, and I think this is around 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Still on Monday?
Yes, still Monday.
And I think her body's actually in the trunk.
He tells me
at this
he's
point.
going to go back out. He's going to stop at a few gaming shops, and then he'll meet me at the house at 2:30 so we can get together. He left.
I hung out in the house for a while, just waiting for 2:30 to roll around. 2:30 rolls around, and I'm already calling Stephan, and he's not picking up his phone. 2:30 comes, I leave. About 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from him going, I just got back home. I left my phone home again. I'm so sorry. How long ago did you leave? And I said, about 10 minutes ago. He goes, I'm so sorry. I missed it. I really wanted to go with you. And I was just like, it's fine. I figured he wasn't going to make it because when I looked at the time when he left and said he was going to visit 3 shops, I didn't think he had enough time to visit them. He told me while he was gone that he got a flat tire somewhere on 182. The wheel just shredded and fell apart. So he was changing the tire, and it took him a really long time to do it. He said he hurt his thumb while changing the tire, like the frame or something.
And just to let everybody know who's not familiar with this case, he got a flat tire at the exact same place that he dumped her body. So we think that, or at least I think that he got the flat tire and he had her body in the trunk of the car. So he was afraid if somebody stopped, to help him with this flat tire, there he is with a unalived 13-year-old girl in his trunk. So I think that's when he took her body out of the car and ran her across the street and hid her underneath some trees. And then he's went back and changed his tire and he only had a little donut tire.
Something slipped and something pitched his finger, and he ended up having to yank it out. And he said he hurt his finger.
I want to touch on something real quick. When you were calling him, he eventually told you that he left his phone there. Did you hear the phone at the house?
No. If it was anywhere, it would have been upstairs and I wouldn't have heard it. It would have been in the guest
Do
bedroom.
you typically go upstairs?
Who, me?
Yes.
Only if I'm doing laundry.
That was all. I was just curious if you had heard the phone when you were trying to call him that day.
I didn't. So he tells me all that. I get off the phone with him. I'm waiting. Wait for about an hour and 10 minutes. 4:04, the bell rings, and I'm waiting. I'm the first in line. And she doesn't come out.
You were in your car?
I was in my car, in the car line, yeah. At this point, it's been a few minutes. She should have been out by now because she's usually one of the first kids out. She knows I'm the front line. And I'm holding up the line behind me because there's kids getting in the cars behind and they're all waiting. They can't get around me, right? So I start calling her, forgetting that I have her phone on me. I had found her phone earlier that morning. She had left it at home. And I brought it with me because she does this often. She does leave her phone.
Where was the phone at in the house?
It was on top of the dresser in her bedroom.
Downstairs? I've never been in your house.
Downstairs.
Okay.
So,
how did you get down there?
I have a 4-bedroom townhouse.
Okay.
The living room has a partition in it, a fake wall kind of thing. That's got her bedroom in it. That's got a bed, a dresser, and a desk on it. Does she sleep there? No. She'll hang out there. She'll use her computer and hang out there. That's her hangout spot. But she primarily sleeps with me every night in my bed. That's because I know the roommates wake up super early in the morning. They're going to be in the kitchen. They're going to wake her up if she's sleeping out in the living room. So I don't.
So your bedroom downstairs, her makeshift bedroom downstairs, guest bedroom upstairs.
Yes.
Got it.
Her phone was on her dresser. When I found it, I was like, oh my God, she left the phone out. That's great. I brought it with me to the school because I was just going to yell at her and then just hand it to her so she could have something to do on our way home. 4:10 rolls around and she's still not out, or 4:09. And then at this point, I'm feeling the pressure from the cars behind me. I'm like, okay, they're all full. They're all waiting for me to leave and she's not here yet. So I take off and I'm thinking, Maybe I missed her. Maybe I forgot to tell her I was picking her up from school today because I don't know if she knew that I wasn't working. I don't know if she knew if I was off. So I asked, I don't know if I told her that I was going to get her. So I left thinking maybe she walked. That's pretty close to school. If I can't pick her up at school, that's where I tell her to. I drove the path she would have walked. I didn't see her. I got to the office. And she goes, no, it's a little too early. And I said, okay, let me go drive back down and wait along the path she would walk and just wait. And I parked and I waited. I waited. I'm not sure how long I waited. Maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. She still wasn't there, and I looked at the time, and I'm like, okay, she should be back at my mom's office by now. Maybe she took a different path and I didn't see. So I went, no, she's still not here. And I'm like, that's really strange. So I call. I don't know if I text her. I call. I think I text her, and I asked, hey, or I called. No, I called her. I asked, and she said, no, she didn't make it to first or second period. And I said, what do you mean? She was dropped off close to the school. She should have been in school. She goes, no, she didn't make it to first, second period. I said, please check with the rest of your friends, see if she made it to any of her other periods. At some point in this, I emailed one of her teachers asking, actually emailed a few of her teachers and 2 of them responded. One of them said, no, she did not make it to class, and I checked her attendance for the rest of the day. She wasn't in school at all. Like, he sent me a screenshot of like her attendance and it said 0, 0, 0.
You still have that on the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
If you need to know what app, I'll tell you what app. It's a special school app.
Got it.
He said she was missing all day. And at this point, I start to panic and freak out because that can't be the case. She was dropped off. I had to go check her attendance at school, but the office had closed already. The lights were off. I could see a student sitting in there in the darkness, but I couldn't see any of the administrators or anybody in the office. Lights were off, everything was closed. They wouldn't allow me in. I think at this point, the teacher had responded to me and told me she didn't make it to school at all. I start having like a freak out panic attack.
Are you still just you at this point? Is it you and Stephan?
It's me and my sister. And I want to say one of them is Catherine. I start panicking. And I think at this point I call Stephan and I tell him, hey, because she didn't make it. She's absent today. There's no attendance of her at all today. I'm like, right now. And he said, okay, I'll be there. And he came to the office. And there for like 3 hours, I think. Eventually I contact one of my friends whose husband works, or ex-husband works for OCP, or for you guys.
Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I messaged him and I talked to him and I asked him what I should be doing because you guys aren't responding quick enough.
You know his name? Where he works?
Yes. Nick Mann.
Okay.
Or Mahon.
Do you know what he does here?
I think he works for SWAT.
Okay.
Sure.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
He tell you to wait.
I can't remember anymore. I think he let us know that there were other kids missing in the area, which is why you guys weren't responding quick enough. I think think an 8 and a 9-year-old had gone missing around the same time too. In a playground, they forgot to tell. They didn't tell their mom they were going to the playground or something like that. So all the cops were over there on that side of Hunter's Creek. My sister's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever he is, thought it would be a good idea to go to the park and talk to a cop there and see if he could bring a cop back, and that's what he did.
Okay.
And then at that point, that's when the cops started asking us questions, taking a report. Interviewing me. They interviewed Stephan. They asked Stephan to take them back to the location where he dropped them off, and he showed them wherever he dropped her off. They were looking for cameras along the path, and I don't think they found any cameras along the way. There were video recordings. I think.
Did Stephan go with them in their patrol cars, or did he drive himself and they followed? How did that work?
I think he went with them in the patrol car.
Okay.
Then they came back. And then that's it. Everything was done. The cops were done. We were done.
What time? You remember what time that was on Monday?
It was after dark. It was say 8 o'clock.
What did you guys go do after that?
We were in separate cars, me and Stephan.
Okay.
I ugly cried on the way home. I shouldn't have been driving. But I ugly cried on the way home, and I went straight home. And then the first thing I did was call Fox 35 News to see if we can air some missing children information out there.
When you say ugly cry, just overly emotional tears, makeup running, or is there what is your meaning of ugly crying?
Sobbing where I couldn't see the road, and I shouldn't have been driving, I was swerving.
Makes sense. Did Fox 35 come out to your house, or what was their response?
They responded the following day. I think we did a Zoom video interview.
Did Stephan follow you home?
I don't know if he followed me, but he drove home, yeah.
I mean, was it within a reasonable time when you got there?
Yes.
Okay.
Drove home. We waited there. We didn't know what to do. I stayed up late. I think I called Fox 35. What else did I do? I think I had to eventually eat and take my medication. He told me he was going to go out cruising that night to go look for her. And I said, I even questioned that. I asked him, are you sure it's a good idea? You should probably sit tight. Let's just wait to see if she comes home. And he said he was going to take a drive out. I had completely forgotten about him wanting to take the drive, or that he actually did it. And it wasn't confirmed to me until the following day, where agents came to the house and we sat in the car for a good amount of time. And I noticed the chair was adjusted. And I said, did you drive my car? And he said, yeah, remember I said I was going out last night. That's right, you did say that.
Can he tell you where you looked?
I think he said up and down 192. And I said, why there? And he's like, I don't know, I'm just looking. I was just trying to look anywhere. And I'm just like, okay.
You didn't notice he was gone?
Did he say if he found anything or talked to anybody, or just roamed?
There's usually 3 people in your bed, and you're alone. There's 2 missing. You didn't notice that?
When you were getting ready for bed, you were tired, emotional, were you falling asleep when he left, or were you already asleep when he left?
I was already asleep when he left.
Okay, did you sleep downstairs? In your bedroom? When you woke up, was he already awake? Was he still sleeping?
He was asleep in his bedroom upstairs.
The guest bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you take your medication that night?
I did.
She ain't missing that.
What did you guys do Tuesday? Or just you? You guys, if you're not together, you're not together. What's the timeline on Tuesday?
Tuesday, he slept. I woke up early and started making phone calls to like the national hotline for missing and exploited children. I called the number that the sheriff's office had given me to see if they had any information, and they let me know that she was like the what did she say she was? I don't remember what she said her position was, but she had just gotten into the office and was just starting to work on it, so she didn't have anything new for me. Her name was Bonnie Mitchell, I remember that. She asked me to send her some photos. The National Exploited Children's Hotline place asked me for photos as well. I think at this point, I had asked my friends and family to start contacting news outlets to try to get as much attention on this as possible. I had a lot of phone calls coming in, and I was picking all of them up, hoping that any of them could help me. But it ended up being news reporters or people who had seen my phone on the my phone number on a flyer and was trying to give me suggestions. Somebody letting me know that they took flyers all the way to Orlando International Airport and posted them all over the place in case she was being trafficked. They suggested that I go to Amtrak and Greyhound. I had my sister making all these runs for me. I didn't leave the house to do any of this.
Stephan's still asleep.
Yeah. Eventually, reporters come to the house and do an interview. And at this point, Stephan was awake. I did an interview with them, and then Stephan was crying in the background. And I said, Stephan, do you want to do the interview? You can if you want. And he sat in front of the camera and did an interview where he cried.
Do you know which news outlet that was with? I know there's a video on Fox 35
with
him
sitting
to be on like a webcam.
Yeah, that was Zoom. He was sitting in the background for me.
Okay.
I know
but
that
you
one.
had in-person interviews with reporters?
Yes. I want to say it was Channel 9.
Okay.
Yeah, Channel 9.
And he spoke to them?
Yes.
Okay.
And he ugly cried in front of the camera too, so he was fucking fake sob crying.
So are you saying that now, or do you?
I'm saying that now. I didn't think that at the time. At the time, I thought he was truly heartbroken and not that he had done all this shit to her. Like, I look back at shit now, I'm just like, he was fucking lying. He was fucking faking. What else has he been lying to me about? I know he's like a master liar and manipulator because he's done it to his parents, and he's told me and shown me the lies he's done to his parents. But I don't know why I never thought, not me.
The lies are about money, they're about where he's at, what he's doing. Was he?
Yeah, all that.
To his parents?
Yeah, he's stolen money from his parents. They used to have a few $1,000s hidden in like a closet for emergency fund kind of thing. And during COVID, he stole, like, he wanted RC cars. See, if he wants something, he's going to get it. No matter what. So he wanted RC vehicles, the remote control cars, fancy ones. They were a few $100s. And I'm poor. I know I can't afford it. And he's showing up at home with these things. And I asked him, where are you getting the money from? Because we don't have this money. He goes, oh, my dad. And I said, your dad gave you money? He goes, no, I took some from his closet. And I was like they have an emergency stash? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, he's going to notice money's missing. And he's like, no, he won't. It's so much money in there, he won't notice at all. I've confirmed with Chris later on that he did notice money, but he never asked his son. But I let him know, yeah, he was robbing you and just buying himself toys. He's also lied. Most recently, he lied to his parents about where he would be. He told them he would be at his friend's house playing video or board games or something like that, but in reality, he came all the way to Kissimmee to hang out with us.
Okay.
But you guys were together Wednesday? After all the interviews, did you stay Wednesday? Would you? I know
Yes.
we had some detectives go meet you guys Wednesday, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Were you guys in the house together till the detectives came?
Yes.
What kind of happened after the detectives came?
Do you feel like everything starts to get blurry?
Oh, I get it. Trust me. We've been in this office for like 3 days straight.
Yeah, so I just don't remember what day I had conversation with you guys.
Tuesday night, Orange County detectives came out there because I ended up coming out Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember seeing me or not that night.
Okay.
That was the first night we were at the apartment into the nighttime.
Yeah, is that when you guys shut down the house for forensics?
Yes.
Okay. So
Tell us about that.
Okay. So earlier that day, I think Detective Hunt came, or somebody came, and asked Stephan for his cell phone. If he would willingly give it up so that they can look at it, or if they would need a warrant. And I remember him saying, should I have asked a warrant? Should I have? And I'm like, no, you got nothing to hide. Give him your fucking phone. And I think we hung out in the house for a little bit, and then when you guys came in the evening, and you guys told us to wait outside, and we waited in my car, he started getting very anxious and very panicky, going, I want my phone back. I want my phone back. And I said, listen, at this point, it's their phone. It's theirs for fucking ever. I don't give a shit. We will buy you a new phone. It doesn't matter anymore. Whatever they need, they need. Like, let them look at it. And he's like, I just want my phone back. And I'm just like, are you trying to make yourself more suspicious? Because, like, if you were to go demand your phone back right now, that would look suspicious as fuck. Like, what are you doing? I'm thinking he's just getting impatient because he's bored and wants to play on his phone. And at one point, he takes my phone to start playing with it. I give it up. And I said, here, play on my phone. Have fun. Because I think from my phone, he was trying to log into his emails, but he couldn't. Because you need like 2-factor authentication from your own phone. And I'm just like, what are you trying to look at? And he's like, oh, my shipments, my packages. He's addicted to buying shit. That's another thing. Me and his dad couldn't figure out where Stephan was getting money from to buy stuff since he's been unemployed the last 2 months, but he's constantly buying himself packages.
One of the things that we found out was through their investigation is that he was on Telegram, the app Telegram. And I was listening to a different story, a different case yesterday, and they were talking about how Telegram, I'm not really all too familiar with that app, but it said that you can open up private chat rooms where you can share videos and stuff like that in these private chat rooms. And Telegram apparently appears to be one of the methods that they trade their Csam stuff. So it could be a possibility that he was sharing these videos and pictures that he was taking of Maddie with other IRV pays. So that could be how he was getting money. We just don't know yet.
Buying himself things off of Amazon, buying himself things off the line.
Is this stuff you can confirm, or you think he's doing this?
What?
Buying packages.
I can confirm because I am linked to his Amazon account, and his parents can confirm whatever UPS packages or whatever he's getting at home. But I'm linked to his Amazon account. If you guys have my phone, you'll see whatever shipment. I think most recently I did like birthday party. If you see birthday party stuff, that was me. But everything else, him.
There's your little piglet.
He's constantly buying stuff, and he doesn't have money. He keeps saying he's got money in his savings, but me and his dad called bullshit because he hasn't had. When he lived with us, he was struggling. His dad was helping him pay his bills, paying his rent, paying his gas, paying his insurance. Stephan was helping us, supporting us by buying food and all that stuff. But I don't know what he did with the rest of his money, and I don't know where he's getting money from now.
You were telling us that he was trying to log into
He's trying to log into his emails on his phone, and I said, two-factor authentication, you can't do anything. You're just gonna have to wait till you get your phone back. What else? We waited in the car. I think at this point, when I noticed that forensics was locking down the house and you guys said we couldn't come back, I told him to call his dad because I had a feeling y'all knew something and it was going to come down on him. And I'm just like, they're focusing on the wrong person. They have the wrong person. In my head, I'm convinced you guys are that you had the wrong person. I wanted to think that he was good.
Before we get ahead of that, what is the conversation like between you two when you're in the car? Because y'all were in there for a good while we were trying to figure things out at your apartment complex or your condo. What's the conversation like inside that car?
I'm trying to think back to what exactly we were talking about. I know I remember late in the evening, like when you guys let us know we couldn't come back, and I called his dad, or we called his dad. I started saying to him, like, I think they're focusing in on you. Like, we need to call your dad, and I think we need to get you a lawyer. I feel like they're focusing on the wrong person. And he kept saying the same thing. He kept repeating what I was repeating. That they're focusing on the wrong person. They're wasting time.
How did he feel when you said he needs a lawyer?
He didn't believe me. Like, when I told him, like, don't you see forensics is closing down the house? They fucking know something, or there's something, like, they know something. Something's happening. They wouldn't be locking down the house this way if they didn't have suspicions of something. But I wasn't thinking, I don't know why I wasn't thinking him. Like, I was just like, no, they've got the wrong guy. He just kept saying that they have the wrong guy, that they're focusing on the wrong person, and that we're wasting time. And we call his dad. We tell his dad to come down here, and his dad did come down here and met us at a hotel. That was another thing. I don't have that much money. I live off of disability. I couldn't afford to put us up on a hotel. Like, when you guys said that we couldn't return, I was like, I didn't know where to go. I was trying to think if any family member would have a spare room or anything like that, and not that could take the three of us. When I say three of us, I mean him and the dog. And I know at my mom's house we wouldn't have been welcome. My mom does not like Stephan. She's never liked Stephan. So I knew that our only option was to go to a hotel, but I couldn't afford it. So we called Chris, and Chris met us at a hotel by Disney,
Okay.
off of Western Way, and that's where we went. We got there pretty late. We checked in. I used the restroom, and I was getting ready for bed, or getting like laying down in bed probably around 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, and I fell asleep. Stephan was already asleep at this point.
Did you go straight to sleep when you got in, or just kind of drifted off as you were falling asleep? Like you went to the bathroom and he goes straight to bed?
He was already in bed before I went to the bathroom. Okay. I was on my phone for a little bit. He was laying in bed snoozing. I went to use the restroom. I was in the restroom for quite a while because I had like a terrible cell. When I came back out, he was asleep. At least I thought he was asleep. But
his dad stayed with you guys?
Not in the hotel room. He stayed in a different room on the same floor.
Okay.
The following morning, I wake up, I think around 9 o'clock in the morning, and Stephan's not there. And I remember thinking, he left again without his phone and didn't tell anyone where he was going. That's suspicious as fuck again. Why is he trying to?
Well, we took his phone, so he got a new phone?
He didn't get the new phone until later that day, where his dad woke up, came to our hotel room, and then handed him a phone.
Okay.
And said, here, have this phone in the meantime until you get your old phone back.
So you're just saying he's out and about with no phone?
Yeah, he's out and about with no phone, so there's no way for us to contact him. There's no way for us to... I didn't know if he even knew how to get back to the hotel. Because I drove that night. He's a little oblivious to when it comes to directions. So I was just like, he can't even figure out how to get here. But he rolled in around 11:15. Rolled in with a cup of Wawa. And said, oh, I'm so sorry. I was just driving around. I grabbed some Wawa on 182 and got lost. I didn't know how to get back to the hotel. But I'm here now. And I'm just like, detectives are about to show up. What the fuck would have happened if they showed up and you weren't?
I wanted to stop this and say something real quick. Do you guys realize or notice the difference in these investigators from the ones who interviewed Ben Fields's, the women who accused Ben Fields? Because I think there is a huge difference just in the way that they speak. Do you guys notice that? Do you all see any of that?
Weren't here. Like, you would have been a fugitive. Like, what are you doing? And he was just apologetic about not telling anyone where he went.
Yep. They're professional.
But I mean, he had a Wawa cup and he said he was up at 192.
Yeah, but in reality, I know that.
And remember, this is the missing child's mother who they have questions for, the same way the victims came forward of Ben. They had a story to tell too. But the way that these detectives are just conducting these interviews with her, I see a total change in competence. These detectives were competent.
He truly took my car in the middle of the night to Northport, Florida, and was down there for an hour and came back. I didn't suspect that at all.
Okay.
I literally thought, I'm like, oh, this man, we were right next to like a Target. So I'm thinking, oh, he's probably like stress shopping, just looking at stuff. He likes to browse. I was like, maybe he's in there somewhere. But I didn't have a car. I couldn't go out looking, right? And also, detectives were coming, so I didn't want to leave. Detectives eventually show up. We were in the hotel room for a while. He went back to sleep and slept. I took a little snooze for a little bit that morning, and then I got up, and then I went downstairs.
And the way that she says, took a little snooze, she says that several times in these interviews. Oh, he took a little snooze. Oh, well, we were just snoozing. Your child is missing right now and has been for days.
To the lobby and I saw Chris. And Chris asked if I wanted some lunch. So we went to the hotel bar and ate some lunch. We brought up some lunch back for Stephan. Told him to eat a little bit. When he woke up, he took like 2 bites. Then detective showed up. We went downstairs. They let us know that there was a press conference happening, which we already had an idea was going to happen. And they told us they would give us a ride and escort us to the conference here. And that you guys would let us in the back way so that media wouldn't see us. But in reality, now I know that was just to interview guys with us. But yeah, then we showed up here and got separated. Haven't heard from him since. Haven't spoken to him since. Have no interest in speaking to him at all. Yeah, that was it. Then we got interviewed.
What have you done since? Like, where did you go back to the hotel? Did you stay somewhere else?
No. So after the interview and all that stuff, Chris took me to my sister's house. I've been at my sister's house ever since.
Cool.
Yesterday I went out for a little bit to go to Target to try to take my mind off of things. I went to Target to go get myself a toothbrush and deodorant, things that I didn't have because I left the house the last second. I also went to my ex-husband's wife's mom's house. It's complicated, but we're all friends.
So?
Yeah. And they consoled me. They just kept me company. They made lunch. Then I went back to my sister's house, and I've just been pretty much there ever since. Now, when I went to Target, I decided like, oh shit, I shouldn't be out in public. People could recognize me. It can either be good or bad, what people could tell me. I've already had people recognize me in my community, and dealing with people's heavy emotions and them coming to me and crying and telling me they're so sorry and how they feel is so heavy because like I just have to kind of stand there and take their emotions and like, I don't know, it's so heavy.
Like complete strangers. I'm speechless. I'm stuttering. Complete strangers had more of an emotional reaction to the disappearance of her child than she did. And it was so heavy for her to feel these other people's emotions about empathizing or sympathizing with her losing her child. Like, it blows me away.
When I realized that these are the interactions I was having in public, I need to stay home because I just can't carry anyone else's emotions right now. I have my own to deal with, like my own. I don't want my own mental health suffering right now, or for me to spiral and end up back being hospitalized.
So when did you meet Stephen or Stephan?
I met Stephan in 2017. We both worked for Eco Homes, a real estate company. I did appointments, and he worked in the office doing like warranty work. We met as coworkers. We became really good friends. We were best friends for like a year. And then eventually I asked him if he wanted to hook up, and he said, sure. And yeah.
She was his sugar mama.
You said 17, 18. Did you live in Orlando, Kissimmee? Where were you guys staying then?
Kissimmee.
And did you guys live together in 17?
He technically lived at his parents' house, but he was staying at my house all the time.
Okay. Same house you're in now or a different house?
Wait, I take it back. In 2017, he wasn't staying over my house. It started in 2018 when we started hooking up, and he started sleeping over my house.
Okay.
And what was your next question?
Was that in the current
Yes.
house you live in now?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you lived in that house?
On and off, because at one point we moved close to where his parents live right now. They live in North Port Florida, Sarasota County. I lived in Port Charlotte, which is Charlotte County, the county right next door. We had an apartment there for like 6 to 8 months. We moved down there because, again, Stephan was promised a job and that fell through. So we supported ourselves in this tiny apartment for a little while until I ran out of funds.
Do you remember what year that was?
2020.
So when did you live in Port Charlotte in 2020?
I don't remember what month I moved in, but I remember moving out in November.
Of 2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was some. April, maybe.
That's fine. It was fine. We can look up if we need to later. 17. In 2017. So 2018. 6. Her body.
It's redacted.
At the same time, no. But I've had ex-husbands and ex-boyfriends live in that same house before.
Got it.
I know, I was starting to wonder too. But I remembered when I watched it the first time. I thought the same thing. They must be talking about medical information or something, is what I thought. Something about Maddie's.
You moved to Port Charlotte sometime in 2020 for a few months.
Yeah.
And then you came back to the same house.
After Port Charlotte, I went back to my mom's house for a little while.
Where's that at?
In Hunters Creek, Florida.
Got it.
Even before Port Charlotte, actually, the few months before I was in Port Charlotte, I was living at my mom's house.
With Stephan.
Around March 20, decided he wanted to renovate the house and possibly sell it. So he told us to get out. So March 2020, so around COVID time, like 2 weeks after COVID was announced, I moved in with my mom.
Okay.
And I lived with her for a little bit. And then the Port Charlotte apartment happened. We moved to Port Charlotte, were there for a few months, came back to live with my mom, was there for a few months, and then I decided to move back. That he was moving out and like getting an RV and like living the RV life.
Yeah.
So he needed somebody to take care of the house for him. So I said, yeah, I would do it, of course. So I moved in. I moved into his bedroom, downstairs, the master bedroom. Eventually, Stephan did come. For a few years. It wasn't until like June of last year that and go upstairs to the guest bedroom upstairs because I just he's not a very clean guy. He's kind of a little hoarder, like collector. So just my house was always a mess and never the way that I wanted it to look. Or the clutter just gave me anxiety. So
and I don't know if you guys caught what I meant when I said that in the comment. She said she was on disability. So that means it's very common around here, around these parts, for people to be on disability. It's a disability check. It's an income that you get every month. And I don't know how much it is, but I'd say it's not very much. I'd say it's probably like $800 a month or something like that, maybe, that some people get. I have no idea how much she gets, but I think that's what she's referring to when she said she's on disability, that's how they were living. So they were living off of basically whatever she was getting every month.
I asked him to move upstairs, and he did. And he lived upstairs until until December of last year. And then he moved to Northport, Florida with his parents, but they had promised him a job, but that fell through. So we were in the process of trying to get him to come back up here to get his job back at Disney and for him to move back into the house for a little bit. I'm not sure long term. I know temporarily I was willing to accept him back.
Was that something out of convenience for him or because you?
A little bit of both. We missed him. And I wanted to help him out, like make it easy, like give him a place, like a base to start at, and then for him to start looking for something else afterwards, on his own. But yeah.
You obviously.
Yeah.
Relationship. Talk a lot. Is she a secretive teenager? What is like your kind of day to day with her?
I would have said a normal relationship. I asked, she would tell me. She was.
Yeah. When we get to those other interviews, it'll confirm that. Her dad, when they were first together, I don't think he was paying any rent when he lived with them. But then when they broke up and she sent him upstairs, she didn't want him in her bedroom anymore. So she sent him upstairs to live in the guest bedroom. And his dad says in his interview that that's when they started wanting him to pay rent. And his dad did, I think he paid it a few months, and then he said, no, I'm not going to keep paying this. You need to just move back home. And so that's when he left and went back to his mom and dad's house. But we'll listen to that in his dad's interview.
I didn't think she was hiding anything from me. I didn't think she was lying to me about anything, but obviously she had secrets.
I mean, the hindsight, all the stuff you found out over the past couple of days, we're like taking that out of the picture, your relationship with her.
Okay.
Like not looking back saying, okay, I was being lied to, like up until you found out some things that you've been told. You guys had an open communication relationship. You talk about
everything.
Life.
Yeah. If anything, she was a little bit more open with Stephan because she told him.
Let me stop this real quick. I am so sorry. David Pyle Jr. Yes, I told him that I would do it today at the beginning of my show, and it slipped my mind. I'm so sorry. We want to give a shout out to his beautiful wife, Marie O. It's their 6-year anniversary. So I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Happy anniversary, you guys. I'll do a better one next time.
About a boy she had a crush on.
Okay.
And that his name was, and she described him, and Stephan's like, are you aware that she has a crush on a boy? I said, no. He's like, yeah, she told me his name, that he's tall, and that she likes his fluffy hair.
When was this? Remember when this conversation happened?
Within the last week. sometime, but I'm not
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Like within, so we saw, so within a week of that Sunday. I'm not sure if she had told him via phone chat. It must have been via phone, like phone convert, like we don't FaceTime, we Google Meet.
The Android
the
version.
Android version of FaceTime, yeah. So we would Google Meet often. Sometimes when we get home from school, just talk all day, or sometimes not even talk all day. We would just bullshit. I would be doing my own thing. He'd be doing. We're just keeping each other company on the phone. And I think in one of those conversations, she told him that she had a crush on a boy. But I checked those text messages with that boy, and nothing seemed weird either.
So how did he? I mean, it could be new. I mean, she sees a guy at school. She thinks it's attractive. He shows her attention. I mean, she's young. How did he take it? Was he like? And I want you to think back before you know things you know now. Like, did he seem concerned about her? Did he seem excited for her? Like she's starting to, be a kid and have crushes and everything else. Like,
he seemed happy for her.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, did you hear this? This is super cute. And I was like, oh. I hadn't. She hadn't told me. And I wondered, I'm like, why didn't she tell me? Why'd she tell him and not me? Like, I want to know who she got a crush on. But maybe it's because I told her she had a rule. She wasn't allowed to date for a few years.
Okay.
Until, like, I think I had said 16 or something like that. But I didn't want her dating.
So then your relationship with her was open. Obviously, she's a child. She's not going to share everything.
Yeah.
With him, it seems like she has a very open relationship with him. They talk, they hang out. So it'd be okay with you if they went out and did things together outside if you were at work or something? So the living situation with them, I'll be honest, seems weird. It's weird to me. She's got a bedroom downstairs. What's kind of the mindset or the thought process, the communication you've had with Stephan about, she's not going to sleep in her bed, but you guys are going to go sleep in the guest bedroom?
So originally the plan was that all three of us were going to sleep in my bed together.
And I'm not just saying Sunday, I mean like.
Oh, okay.
In the past, too.
So I had a rule. She wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. Like, no sleepovers, no nothing. For a very long time.
See, she had a rule. So this had been going on. She had been letting her sleep in his bedroom. She made the Woody Allen comment. Do any of you all know the quote that she said about the Woody Allen comment? I don't want to get it wrong.
Okay. For years.
Since we're pausing,
yeah.
What brought that on? Was that like a request of his, like, can we sleep in the same bed, request of hers, or you just saying?
Me being super paranoid, not to trust anyone.
Super paranoid.
Like, even though he treated her well, I still looked at him on, like side eye, like making sure, like, is that normal?
You did.
Okay, that looks normal. Okay. I wanted to make sure that nothing was happening and that I was missing something, but I was. But
that didn't even make no sense.
He never requested. I'm sorry. Repeat the question then.
So I guess you said, like, you had a rule. Like, obviously we know now they've slept in the same bedroom together and everything else. I'm sure you're questioning a lot of things that, like, you haven't been told or that are going on. The thought process of them sleeping in the same bedroom caused you to say that you had a rule for the longest time where they couldn't.
Yeah.
I have a son. He's a lot younger than her. He's 4. But I guess if I was dating somebody or had somebody over, I would never establish, and this is just me, a rule. He can't sleep in the bed with her, or she's not going to be. It wouldn't even be a thought process for me. So that's why I asked, because I wouldn't think of it even as an option.
Yeah.
So when you say you had a rule, I guess I'm asking what prompted the rule.
sleepovers before. Yeah. Like, you want to watch movies and eat snacks? Can we do that? I'm like, no. We can all watch movies down here together. We can all.
So what she said was that Maddie had asked for sleepovers before. So, and you guys gotta remember, she has been having a sexual relationship in her mind because she's 13. Remember when you were 13 years old? Do you remember that puppy love that your first love, the first little crush that you had? And I remember the very first time I saw the picture of Maddie, the night that she passed away at her birthday party, and she was standing there with her hand up on her hip. I've got that picture, but when I saw that picture of her with her hand up on her hip, I just thought, man, she's awful developed for 13 years old. You know, her hips, she was starting to get hips, and she was already very, up top. She was filling out. And I thought, she looks older than 12 years old, And so if you really think about it, he has groomed her. That's what that grooming process is. And he's had her to where she was probably in love with him, or thought she was, and that fits right in with that comment that she made right here. I didn't want a Woody Allen situation. So what she was saying was she didn't want them to run off together. As she got older, they would run off together and be together and leave her at home, and then she wouldn't have her daughter or her boyfriend. Oh my gosh, I'm shaking. I am shaking all over. I can't stand it. So I don't necessarily think that she was, I don't think she was interested in any other boys, but some other boys might have been interested in her, and that could have set him off. Anything she could have said or did anything that set him off that night.
Sleep down here together.
Oh, I'm shaking.
Up until June, together all the time. So we were always. She would sleep in the middle. I would sleep on this side. He would sleep on the other side. It wasn't until June that he got his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started. And I kept telling her no. I'm not comfortable with that.
Yep.
But eventually, at some point, she's like, we really want to watch. I forgot what movie it was. They really wanted to watch something, and I was really tired. And I said, okay, fine. Go ahead, but this can't happen often. And yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him. But honestly, I think I can count on one hand how many times that's happened, and it hasn't been many times that I've allowed her to have a supper party with him, to be alone in a bed with him. I'm usually around all the time. Up until 2 weeks ago, I was pretty much at home all the time, living on disability. If I wasn't at home, just, I was substitute teaching, but I was substitute teaching primarily at her school or at the school close by, but I'd make sure I'd get out around the same time, and I'd get out in time to pick her up and take her. So she was with me pretty much all the time. She wasn't at school.
Here's the quote. Thank you, Mama Duck. She says, let's see. Well, can't see it all. I've always told him, Stephan, that my biggest fear was that this would turn into a Woody Allen situation where the stepdaughter, and then Jenn corrects herself, the dad grooms the child. The stepdaughter fall, and then Jenn corrects herself. the dad grooms the child. We'll hear it. We'll hear it.
So yeah, after.
When he's not there, where does she sleep?
With me.
She never sleeps in her room?
No, always with me.
Yep. And when they did the other interviews, he would FaceTime Maddie for hours a day. She couldn't get away from him even when he wasn't there. So when he went back to live with his mom and dad, because they couldn't afford to pay the rent, or his dad didn't want to pay the rent no more, he was always on the phone with Maddie. They found that too.
Quickly, do you know, and you may hate the question, do you have any idea? We currently have upwards, probably 200 people working on fire. Right, the Orange County Sheriff's Office is involved, the Kissimmee Police Department's involved, St. Cloud Police Department, Osceola County Sheriff's Office, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FBI. Yes, under suspicious circumstances. So anybody who is somebody is involved.
Yeah.
So regardless of the circumstances, those people don't get to go home. Those people don't get to go back to their families. Those people don't get to live their lives and go back to their primary jobs. I know the sheriff has probably expressed to you that's his number one priority. I'm sure the Kissimmee Police Department's expressed that to you, our detectives. This isn't something that's going to stop or go away.
Yeah.
Yes, she was a substitute teacher. That was one of her former positions or jobs that she had. She was a substitute teacher at the school that Maddie went to school at, I think is what they said.
Right, anybody who knows something, anybody who may know something, will be brought into a room, will be talked to, whether they're guilty, whether they're innocent. Because our number one priority, our job is to kind of stopped on any other things we have going on until it's fine, because that's the most important thing anybody has going on right now. But with that, a lot of people are going to feel that whatever happened, I can tell you, and I know detectives expressed to you that the thought process at this point is this is a homicide investigation.
Yeah.
Based on the evidence I've seen, based on the videos I've seen, I do believe. With that being said, and the reason I tell you that, not to be an asshole, is because the thought process with us leads it in a different investigation, a different way. Meaning, whatever has already happened, right? We cannot change what happened most likely on Monday. We cannot change the fact that I believe Stephan killed her, right? All we can do now is find her as quickly as possible. On the 2% chance we're wrong and that she is alive, that's phenomenal, right? That's the best thing that can happen. On the chance that we are 100% correct and she has passed away, finding her now versus later will bring closure to your family, will bring closer to everybody, regardless of how it happened or why it happened. Meaning, if you have an inclination, if you know where she's at, if his father knows, that doesn't mean those people get held accountable for what he did. It doesn't mean those people get held accountable for knowing what he did. It means we close out the investigation. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we go into rooms like this and we ask people questions. We say, hey, do you know what happened? Do you know what happened? And there's this fear of what happened already happened. I can't change that. So I'm not going to insert myself with knowledge because it's going to make me look bad. Regardless, at this point, I murdered her, right? He victimized her. He ruined her entire life from childhood until now. I think that there's probably some sense of guilt. And my fear is that sense of guilt is causing you to not want to assist in the location of her, not because you're a bad person, but because there's that sense of guilt that what was happening under your roof. And now, by her being found, brings that all to your plate, and it doesn't.
Oh no. If I knew anything, I would so tell you. I want to even if she's dead, because you guys tell me you're suspicious, but I'm not going to believe it until I have her body.
So there are things, and the reason I say these things, and again, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but the reason I say these things is there's been a lot of things you've said and a lot of things I've kind of researched between the Fox 35 story, between your initial statement to the police. A lot of things have changed. The initial statement to the police was you watched her get dressed, you watched her leave, you knew exactly what she was wearing.
Can I tell you
Absolutely.
my thought process on
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
or where I came from with that? I was handed this form, and I'm like, where do I start? What do I write? And somebody said, tell them what you saw. And so I started with I saw, and then I wrote out what I wrote out. But it wasn't until later I was like, wait, I didn't see her. I assumed that I saw her. I assumed that I heard her, but I didn't. In reality, I didn't see her. I only saw him. And I heard something in the kitchen, but I don't know who that was.
Which we talked about today. But I guess there's other concerns. Right? You were nervous. The police have showed you their hand. They said, Stephan, we want your phone. Stephan, we want to talk to you. We're going to lock down your residence. You can't go back inside. Me? I don't care if it's the love of my life sitting next to me. I don't care if it's maternal grandma. If the police come and take my mom's phone and my son's disappearance, I'm not going to offer my mom a lawyer. That's nuts to me. That to me shows you prioritizing Stephan. Because at that point, you became more worried about him being falsely accused than any. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Whether or not that's what you felt, does that make sense? People having lawyers is their constitutional right. That is a thing that everybody is afforded. But for somebody who's going through what you are going through, to offer him a lawyer leads me to believe that there may have been a conversation, there may have been knowledge, or there may have been some inclination that you had, whether it be his involvement, her location, or something to where in your mind there's guilt.
I promise you. Like,
Because you offered the lawyer is very weird.
I know. That was still me under the assumption that I think at one point you guys interviewed me, and when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff fine, but what if she's still missing out there? What if somebody took her? I still wanted to believe I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I was just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if she got abducted? What if she's missing? But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was the good guy still, but clearly he's not. After everything you guys have told me and have shown me, I know he's the worst person on this face of the earth.
You know
right
that now. We know he's a piece of shit now.
You know.
But you didn't know that then.
I didn't.
Then you offered a guy who the police suspected of kidnapping, abducting, assisting the disappearance. Offered him a lawyer. And then we don't have to roundtable that. You went back to what you just said is the sex stuff is fine.
It's not fine.
Hold on. I know every relationship is different, and I know everybody's family is different. I won't ask, but going back on, has he expressed interest in, I'll use the word weird, I'm not going to shame anybody for what they like, different sexual pleasures, different sexual experiences, different kinks that involve things you weren't comfortable with?
The only thing he's ever expressed to me was like anal.
Okay.
He had an anal kink and like butts.
Okay.
But that was something I was never comfortable with or doing, and I let him know that like that's not something.
That's fine. You guys slept in the same bed together. Stephen was a big portion of your life at one point. Stephan was a big portion of your life at one point. And this is not me coming at you as a person or a bad person, because shit happens in the past. In the past, we can't change the past. Has he ever expressed to you? Never.
Never.
Has he ever made statements about made you feel different?
No.
Okay. When you guys slept in the same bed together, in the middle, did you ever wake up and find them cuddling? Did you ever wake up and find them closer than you thought they should be?
They would snuggle, yeah.
Okay.
But we all snuggle. I didn't think that was that problem.
So if you guys are sleeping in the same bed and she's in the center, you've woken up and they're snuggling. They're under the same blanket. They're not under the same blanket.
No.
But just like
She's got her own blanket. He's got her
spooning
own.
for what? What is snuggling to you? Because to me, snuggling, spooning, big spoon, little spoon.
He would lay down like this, and she would be right here in the nook.
Okay. How do you guys sleep? Do you guys sleep clothed, unclothed? I sleep clothed.
Yeah.
Shirt, pants, pajama sets.
Yes.
Everybody.
I sleep in like my everyday clothes.
Okay.
On pajamas or baggy t-shirts and shorts.
Okay.
And Stephan would sleep with his t-shirt or boxers, sometimes with his pants on, but he didn't have pajamas.
Okay. So they would snuggle, sometimes him being in his boxers. You would wake up and she'd be in the nook of his arm, or essentially in a cuddling position. And you never found that weird.
No.
Okay. Again, you and I may find things different. Why? And I don't want you to look back on it, because now you know you victimized her for a long time, right? Under your roof, with you home most likely, because you said you're always home. You just got this job. You've been living off disability. I know the Kissimmee Police Department has showed you pictures. I know they've verbally explained to you some pictures. I can tell you that today, they're still downloading his Google Drives. We are still going through his social medias, his cloud-based servers, and everything else. And we can now piece back her victimization in your house under your care to 2020. I believe you've gone as far back as in when she. So when I ask, they've woken up cuddling, did you find things suspicious? Did you have an open relationship? Did he talk to you? Has he made inappropriate statements? It's almost like cheating, right? Like, have you ever been cheated on? Okay. Somebody can only cheat on somebody for so long until they fuck up, or until something comes out, or somebody says something, right? So if we go back to 2020, we're looking at a minimum of 3.5 years. 3.5 years where I'm sure you guys are sexually active. You guys. Yes. So for 3.5 years under your care in your house, not only is he being sexually active with you, you had a sexual relationship. And I know it's an emotional thing, and I know it sucks to hear, but where I'm coming from is it seems like something that you can't hide forever. You guys live in a small space, close quarters, you sleep in the same bed, you guys all talk, you guys all share things. You're an observant person for the most part, I assume. Outside of taking medications and going to sleep, it seems very difficult. A lot of grown-ass adults can't hide an affair with somebody who doesn't live with them, let alone somebody who does live with them. So at a certain point, I do believe you became aware of what was going on.
No.
And when I say that, it doesn't mean you're in trouble. It doesn't change.
I know, but
I do believe that a reasonable person, and I consider you a reasonable person, right? Do you think you're a reasonable person?
Yes.
Would be aware that under her roof, sexual relation. The videos, the text messages, the images, they're all documented forever. This has been an ongoing thing. And at her age, I think she probably thought they were in a relationship. She probably thought they were in love because he her male attention, right? She just started liking boys, right? She just got a crush. Up until then, her crush. At the same time, you guys are sleeping in the same bed together. You guys are all cohabitating. She's not sleeping in her room. But you felt the need to establish a rule that they couldn't sleep in the same room. But when you established that rule, for 3 years, she's already been dating him, essentially. Whether that's legal or not.
I had no idea.
So I truthfully believe, and this is my belief, I'm not speaking for other detectives, I'm not speaking for the sheriff's office, the state police department, or any other agency I've said. This is Kevin's belief. I believe that you became aware of their sexual relationship. I think at a certain point throughout this relationship, you became aware of it. And for whatever reason, your reasons are your reasons, whether it was discussed that it would stop, whether it was discussed how it would go, that you feel some sense of guilt. A lot of the news statements you've given kind of, again, my opinion only, I don't speak for anybody else, whether it's in this room or out of this room, bother me. It seems like some of your emotion, up until this room, I think some of the emotion in this room is sincere. I think a lot of it's because I'm being an asshole. I'm telling you things you don't want to hear that shouldn't be said out loud. But when you talk to the news, when you talk to deputies, it feels, based on my experience in this job, that it's not sincere. I feel like some of your sadness is not real sadness. I feel like when you gave the interview with Fox 35, it was not sincere. Looking at that video one time, I didn't feel like your cries were sincere. And I'm not saying that because you're a bad person. I feel like sometimes people struggle to show real emotion when they're aware of what the truth is. So it has to be fake. This is optimized for the past, let's say, 5 years, right? But her going missing, her disappearance, if you have knowledge of how it happened, where it happened, an inclination, that emotion's not going to feel sincere because you're already aware of what happened.
I would.
It's almost becomes a lie at that point.
If I knew anything, I promise you, I would tell you. Like, I am willing to take a lie detector test, whatever the fuck you want, but I don't know anything. He's never mentioned anything. I've never seen any signs. I tried watching her like a hawk. I thought I was doing a good job, but I wasn't. I was oblivious to this everything. 4 years?
Minimum. That's just how that far back the cloud goes. And I find it hard to believe for me that you were so worried about how many pills she took at night, but not where she slept or what relationship she was. His interest in her.
I thought we were all safe. I thought because that he hadn't shown me anything so far, like everything seems fine. Like he
hadn't showed her nothing so far.
He treated her like
he treats you. In his mind.
It's so fucking disgusting.
So now he's in jail because of what we found on his phone. Not because somebody came forward and reported that he was abused.
No, I know.
She's not old enough to consent. She's not old enough to have a thought process to even want anything that was happening to her. It's abuse. So he's in jail for that. But something caused what happened, right? We searched murder because we can call it a murder. She didn't die naturally. She didn't overdose. She didn't have a heart attack. We circled murder on Monday. Something had to cause that. He's been having unrestricted sexual activity for a long time. He's getting what he wants from her, probably from you, and who knows whoever else, right? So it's not like he woke up or went to bed Sunday and he was like, you know what? I'm done with this, but I'm going to kill her. Something happened. People don't just wake up and like, you know what? They leave people, they break up with people, but usually things cause people to snap. Now, what? You know what? And I'm in trouble, or I feel like I'm going to, or him being out. We can go even worse. She's pregnant.
That's what questions last night led me to believe when we started talking about her period.
I was told that her and her friend, and granted, I'm male, never had a period, but that somebody found it weird that they were no longer on the same cycle. Could be different because she's a teenage girl. Could be that she missed her period. Have you ever found a pregnancy test at home?
that wasn't yours?
I have 2 underneath the bathroom sink, but I haven't seen if they're still there or not.
Okay. But you haven't seen any used ones in the trash?
No.
Their relationship hasn't changed?
No.
Okay. So what do you think happened Sunday? Other than him killing her, what do you think made him snap?
I don't know. Theories, I keep hearing
Tell me your theories, because here's the deal. You don't go home until she's found.
No, I know.
So what are your theories?
What I've heard is, what if she upset him and threatened to tell me and say that she was going to tell me and he needed to shut that down? That's the only thing.
What do you think?
I don't want to believe he killed her. But for me, you're telling me he must have killed her Sunday night and snuck her body out in the morning. That photo you guys showed me of her stuck in the car.
You don't want to believe he killed her.
I want to believe she's still alive and that she got kidnapped, but that doesn't seem like that's the case at all.
Yeah.
I know. My brain just wants to believe something else. I just want to believe she's still alive and she's out there.
He tell you he fucked up.
No. He acted so normal that day. He was like, I'm so impressed. We got out of the house so early. Like she made great time. We had so much time to go to McDonald's, but she didn't want to. His story was so fun. Like every detail was so believable. He's just been lying this whole time. Like
What about that day in the car when you offered him a lawyer? Did you disclose anything to you there that made you feel like, oh fuck, he needs a lawyer?
No. He kept acting like he didn't know what was happening. And I'm like, don't you see forensics? Don't you see they took your phone? Like, something's happening. Like, I think they're gonna pin this on you. And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, they have the wrong guy. Like, they're just honing in on the last person who saw her. But no, you guys knew more.
You never said, what did you do?
I've never asked him any of that. I still, even up until when we got here to the police station, I was convinced that he hadn't done anything to her at all.
Because of him or because of not wanting to believe she's deceased?
Because of him. Because I thought he was a good guy.
So up until this morning, you still think that it's not?
No.
We're talking about the other day.
Up until
When we took him.
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot what day of the week that was.
So we're still going through his phone, his drive, like I told you, all his socials. We can date back to 2020. Based on the videos, it appears that was the start of the victimization. Okay, are we going to find anything in his phone with you?
No. He never done anything. He never done anything.
Has there ever been a request for the two of you to participate in sexual activity with him?
No.
Regardless of you saying no or yes?
No, he's never asked that.
Okay. If we find pictures like that, is that going to surprise you? So if I'm in his Google Drive, if I have a sex crimes detective, a computer person look at his phone, and they tell me, hey Kevin, I found a picture engaged in sexual activity or borderline sexual activity, is that going to surprise you?
Yes, because that doesn't exist.
Okay. At any time during the course of your relationship, has he expressed that he has ever had sex with a child?
No. not a child, but when he told me when he was in high school, he graduated high school like later, like older than 18.
Okay.
He dated somebody younger than 18. I think she was 15. But I don't know how old he was, 19, 20. But he was an older kid in high school. He graduated late. But he had a really young girlfriend. Her name was Kendall. And I thought that was weird. I was like, that's a little too young. He goes, no, it's fine. We were in high school. Everything was normal. Her parents loved me. Blah, 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 blah. But that's the only one.
Have you ever gone through his phone? Okay. If you had to, knowing Stephan, knowing where he lives, knowing where he goes, how he conducts his life, give me your top 5. Because I know you haven't thought about it. If you haven't thought about it, that's another weird thing I got. Since Monday, right? We told you on Wednesday that we think he did it.
Yeah.
So from Wednesday till today, it's about 48 hours. Give me your top 5 places you think are possibilities based on knowing him, based on knowing his path of travel. Where do you think? It doesn't have to be based on evidence, just in your gut. Give me your top 5 places where you think he.
In this area.
Doesn't have to be this area.
No, I know.
Anywhere you want.
I'm saying in this area, I have no idea. Orlando, Kissimmee, no idea where he could have taken her. But his trip to Northport is weird as fuck. I feel like in Northport, he knows more people. He has more friends. There could be a place and somewhere there he could have stashed her. You guys said he went into a storage unit. That would be another place to look. But there's plenty of woods around his house. Around that exit is kind of secluded. Like
When you say his house, you mean his parents' house?
his parents' house, yeah.
You've been there? Have you seen the property?
Yeah, I've been there before.
Do they have land? Or is it in like a neighborhood?
So it's not a neighborhood because they don't have HOA. You just buy the plot of land and build it. They don't have many neighbors.
Okay.
Or last I saw, I think there was a neighbor building right next door, but I don't know if they're done yet. I just feel like he had more. There would have been more spots in Northport for her to be dumped. Because from what you guys have told me, he went to St. Cloud, he went to 192. Could you guys tell where he turned on on any of these roads? It's just that he was on the main road. I didn't think he ever even knew where St. Cloud was because we've never driven down that way ever.
So you live in Kissimmee, right?
Yeah, I know, but to me, he's never had a reason to ever drive down to St. Cloud, ever. There's no store or anything he goes to down there. Everything is in Kissimmee or Orlando by the mall.
Florida Mall?
Yeah.
Orlando Mall?
Yeah, Florida. I sent the last detective 3 spots. I could have recalled him telling me he wanted to visit. Monday, when he left the house in the afternoon and got the flat tire, he had mentioned a few of those shops, so I sent them over to you guys. There's honestly nowhere I can think of. We've never gone to. The only wooded area that we've ever gone together would be Shingle Creek Regional Park, where the Pioneer Village is.
Okay.
That whole trail there, we had scooters, and he had an electric skateboard kind of thing. We would all cruise. We would all cruise the creek, explore. We've taken a canoe up that creek before. Then the Kissimmee Trail. There's a trail that runs right behind my house that starts right behind my house and goes all the way to that bridge on John Young Parkway that says Kissimmee on it. That whole trail, we've done that as well. That's the only places I could think that like he may have gone, because that's where I know I've gone with him before. But anywhere else, I have no idea.
So our ERT team, it's called Emergency Response Team. It's just a group of people who search areas. It doesn't have to be wooded, can be wooded, can be swampy. They've been out for 3 days. They're gonna be out all weekend. They will eventually, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's in 2026. Okay. I don't think you want that to take too long. Right? I'm sure you'd like to have a funeral. I'm sure you'd like to have some kind of memorial service. The last thing you want is for us to call you in a year and say, hey, we found remains. We don't know. Okay. That may not be something you thought about till just now, but I can tell you, being someone who investigates homicide, that is something that everybody has to come think about eventually. If you can think of anything that would assist us in making that happen for you today versus 2 years from now, regardless of why you know or how you know, we need it.
No, I know. If I knew anything, I would tell you right now. I promise. I want her back so bad. I don't want to think about planning a funeral.
What has your communication been like with his father since this?
I've limited contact over the last 2 days because I know too much and I don't want to tell them anything.
You don't want to tell them what we've told you, or you don't want to tell them what you know?
No, I don't want to tell them what you guys have told me. I can't. I don't want to share any. It's so difficult because I've known them for just as long as I've known Stephan. They feel like absolute shit right now. I know that they kind of got into a fight because Chris are you sure we know our son? Are you sure we know our son? I don't think we know him at all. The mom was defending him, but now with everything, with the evidence on the phone coming out, they know. They know he's a piece of shit.
We've talked to his dad, and his dad knows as much as you know. He knows his son's a rapist. He knows his son's a murderer. He's talked to us. He's been very open with wanting to help in any way he can, whether that's technological, whether that's verbal.
Yeah, he even had. I was with him when he turned in his knife to you guys. He remembered he had a knife on him and gave it to you guys. I thought that was.
Have you talked to Chris about Stephan needing a lawyer?
Yeah.
When?
I think when you guys showed me the photos.
So we showed you photos of Stephan raping. And
No.
the first thought you had is to ask his father if he should get a lawyer?
No. I saw a picture. I didn't see the rape. I didn't know she was getting raped until yesterday. I saw the picture of the oral sex happening. And I I knew that was true, right? That's evidence. That's for real. That's fucking happening. But I kept thinking, they're going. I don't know why I can't tell you why my brain kept thinking, no, he didn't kill her. Not that he didn't kill her, but she's still missing. She's still out there. She was taken. Yes, he's done this to her, and that's not okay. But I swore I felt in my body she was still alive. She was still out there. I told Chris to get him a lawyer because I felt like you guys were chasing the wrong person. But you weren't. You're not.
We showed you a picture. The picture you saw, she was giving a blowjob to a grown-ass man, and you told his dad to get him a lawyer. Missing, right? Now you, but then you just thought she was missing. And we were showing you our investigative lead being raped. A blowjob is rape. Not consensual. Whether she wants to do it or not, that is not consensual. And you prioritized him again. You prioritized him by offering him or telling his dad to get him a lawyer. Not what the fuck did he do? Not, hey, we need to figure out what happened. No, let's protect Stephan.
Forgot I was on mute. I want to stop at real quick and interject something here. What we just heard is exactly the same kind of crimes that all of these people here in Letcher County that have been charged with these types of crimes, and they didn't get any kind of jail time. And our prosecutors and our court is what allowed these kinds of sentencing. Now, I guarantee you Florida isn't it, which granted, Maddie's no longer with us, but I'm talking about the stuff that he was doing to her. It's no different than these 14-year-old girls, victims that are right here in Letcher County. It's no different than the victim under 12 years old right here in Letcher County. So anybody who gets upset with us over sharing these stories, this is exactly what we're talking about. And we're listening to an interview about these kinds of things. It's all the same thing.
I was in shock.
No, it's not shock. That is your natural instinct to protect Stephan. Okay? And if that's naturally how you react, that's fine. But that goes into what I've been telling you this whole conversation is I don't believe a lot of the things you're saying, and I don't believe a lot of the things you say you weren't aware of. And that is because you've now shown me twice that your first reaction, no matter what you were told or shown, missing and we're seizing the cell phone, or we're showing you pictures of her giving him a blowjob, your first reaction is to protect Stephan. So now, ordered by Stephan, you're aware of this. You were shown pictures of this. You were shown pictures of her body in his car with a seatbelt on, right? We have played it out for you. Now you're in a stage where he's in jail. You know she's passed away, and now you can feel emotion, right? Until that point, when you were shown that she was deceased, you're continuing.
And remember, we haven't seen it yet, but what he's referring to right there is they had surveillance footage of him leaving their apartment with her little body in the passenger side of his car, and she was already deceased. They believe she was already deceased. She at least looked deceased. And so they have shown her at this point in time of this interview, they had shown her that footage of her in his car looking passed away. So that's what he's referring to. She didn't know they had found her yet at the time of this interview, but she had seen that picture, that video. So, they kind of knew what they were looking for.
Continued first reaction is to protect this guy. You just said, I only saw a picture of him, whatever your verbiage was, I say blowjob, of his penis in her mouth, and your first reaction was, fuck. Oh my, victimized? No. She's being abused? No. It's Stephan needs a lawyer. Who the fuck cares if we think he killed her?
I don't know why I said that.
But that's the problem. You don't know why. So the reaction in your mind is you are continuously protecting this guy. So why do I sit here and believe that you don't? Because right now, you know Stephan killed her. You know Stephan's been raping her. You know without her body, can he be charged with murder?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you don't know what we can do. Do I think we can charge him with murder? It's not up to me. Should he be charged with murder? Yes.
Please.
Does your role in her life lead this to happen? I'll be honest. Yes.
I know.
Since she was a child, since her victimization started, it occurred under your roof and you acted like it didn't exist. And knowing the victimization, knowing how ongoing it is, knowing that you saw a picture of it, not just us telling you, not me and him saying, hey, listen, he's being, I think they had a bad relationship. They showed you a fucking picture of it. And you still protected him. So how am I supposed to not think that the thought process in your mind is until she's found, Stephan can't be charged with murder? Because we both now know that you don't want him to be charged with murder because you want him to have a lawyer.
No, I don't.
That was then. He can't be charged with murder.
That was then. Everything that you guys have shown me since then and have showed me that he's
so we had to show you a
time.
picture of her dead in the car for you to finally not take his side? Enough? Do you not see where I'm coming from? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but it makes absolutely no sense that your name is Stephan.
I don't know.
Where does your mind go? Stephan. There should have been no doubt in your mind when they showed you that picture of what he was doing to you, that you had any care in the world other than I want that motherfucker to die. Whether you believe in the death penalty or not, he protected him. So now we're talking about her disappearance and where her body is. Why do I believe that you're still not protecting him? Because you say so? Because you can't explain why you protect him. You can't explain what is inside of you that makes you protect Stephan. And you may never be able to explain it. But eventually we're going to have to figure it out because you haven't convinced me that you're still not protecting Stephan. I got all these people out here searching. I haven't seen my own kid in days because I'm looking. I truthfully believe that I can't go home and see my kid is because you're protecting. I can't. You're people sitting in the woods just waiting for me to tell them where to go, but I can't because I think you're in trouble.
I don't care about him. I want him to go to jail. I want the worst thing possible to happen to him in jail. I know what happens to predators in jail. Like, I'm ready for that. Like, please. I don't give a fuck about him. I'm not protecting him.
But you knew he was a predator when you got shown the picture. And then you text his dad that he needs a lawyer. And you hope that he invoked, was the words I was told.
What?
You hope that he didn't talk to us. He needs a lawyer.
No.
All over a picture. You didn't care. You didn't care then. Oh, whether sex isn't important to you, that wasn't anything close.
I knew what I saw was
he was
terrible.
A predator right then and there. That's the day you found out he was a predator.
Yeah.
Yes. And after you found out he was a predator, did you not say he needed a lawyer?
I did.
So why today, Friday at almost 3 o'clock, 5 days into the disappearance, 2 days since you probably found out, or 1 day since you found out she was murdered, do I believe you that you're not telling me where he went, or that he didn't disclose to you where she was, or what caused this to happen is, listen, I know you know I've been doing whatever, or listen, this fucking happened. How do I believe that that didn't happen when everything you've shown me is protect Stephan? Now, once if you show priority in this conversation, in this investigation. You're coming here looking for her. You reported her missing. Trouble for not doing that. But outside of you reporting her missing, and I may be wrong, I haven't been involved in all aspects of it, but you have not shown me one bit that you prioritize her over him. And that sucks. Not because we're working our asses off for your family, not because we have people out there sweating their asses off for your family, but because I feel like all I care about is your care is to make sure Stephan doesn't get held fucking accountable.
Well, I don't care anymore.
Anymore. Because we're being assholes, because I'm not being nice.
No.
But up until Thursday, it was okay that she gave him a blowjob. No big deal. Get a lawyer.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't okay. I saw that and I was in shock. And I don't know why my first reaction was to tell him to get a lawyer, but I saw that and I was in shock and I was just like, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe.
It's easy to believe it now. We showed you pictures of it. You can't deny it anymore. The sex was okay. The murder's not. At least that makes sense.
No, that's okay.
I want to know what it is. And not because I think you're a bad parent, not because I think you're a bad person. Dead or alive, she's missing. Her body is out there. Her body needs to be recovered so she can have a proper burial, a proper funeral. She needs to be laid to rest. Your family needs to be able to mourn her. And we need that information. That is life. That is not life of the law. That's not life of the sheriff's office. That is common decency. That is what she deserves. That is what you deserve. That is what your family deserves. But the longer that happens, the longer it takes us to find her, the less likely that's going to be for you guys. And I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I truly am. But deep down, you haven't showed me that I am.
I don't know what I need to show you.
Prioritize her over Stephan. Think of places he would have dumped her body. Think of places he went, things you talked about, things you discussed, whether it's this week, last week. Don't put it in your mind that he's been victimizing you, or don't put in your mind that I'm being a dick. What can I think about to find out where Stephan put her? You know more about where he goes, what he's doing, or what he would do than you want to realize. That's natural, not because I'm telling you, but because that's natural. I have best friends. I know more about them than I think I know about them. I just need to sit down and think about it. So I need you to sit down and think about it. Whether you need a minute, we're not in this room, whether you want to do it with us in this room, we need to leave here with an idea of where we can go look for. That is one thing we can agree on.
I've sent you a list of the stores that he may have stopped at, didn't stop at. The only outdoorsy places I can think of that we've ever gone to that he would know about would be Shingle Creek or Kissimmee Trail. I don't know if he knows where Lake Toho is, but that could be another option.
Because you think it's a wooded area? Because it's a place you guys have talked about together?
Because it's a wooded area with a lake, with gators. Like, we haven't discussed anything. This topic, I never asked him if he directly. I never thought he could have. I always assumed the best in him. But I didn't ask him directly. I didn't even suspect. That until you guys showed me that picture upstairs. We're here. I don't know. I'm just thinking of, if I name places, it's going to be wooded areas that I can think of, but he hasn't told me anything. Like, he has not told me, or we haven't discussed.
So him going to 192 that day, all you know is that he went to 192.
He said he wanted to visit House Card Rules. That was one of he named 3 stores, and that's one store I can remember him listing on that list.
House Card Rules?
Yeah, I don't have my phone.
We'll get your phone a little bit. House Card Rules. What kind of store is that?
I don't know if that's like a video game or card game or board top game store.
But that's on 192.
Close to one. I think close to 182 somewhere.
And he said he wanted to go to 3 stores.
Yeah. But he did tell me that I just don't remember which one.
Are there woods in that area? Are you familiar with 192?
No, not where these stores are. I have no idea.
Other than you came up with wooded areas that you know of.
Yeah.
You came up with wooded areas that you think he could dump a body in.
Because I've been there with him, yeah.
I need to know wooded areas where he travels. Right? You're saying we've been there, so she could be there. So that tells me she's not there. It tells me it's a waste of the search.
Okay.
Because when I put 90 plus people there, that's all day. Right? We got to coordinate that. We got to put them there. So we need fruitful searches.
Yeah.
So I need likely places that you think, and I need places you think based on my conversations with him, not because you can picture in your mind that there's trees there.
Okay. There's no conversation I can think of where he's named interest in being anywhere near woods or it being along his way.
You said he got a flat tire. Tell me about the flat tire you got.
So he said he got a flat tire.
I agree.
I'm not sure when he got a flat tire, but he said he got a flat tire and then came directly home, and he got home around 2:40. So flat tire, he said he was driving down 192 and it just popped and shredded and fell apart. And he pulled over into a plaza and changed the tire for the first time in a very long time, and said he hurt himself doing it. The frame of the car, something came down on his finger.
All his lies, I don't care. But I want to know what you question him about. Why was he there? What was he doing? There's no way you're the most trusting woman in the world. You just don't ask clarifying questions. I know no relationship I've ever been in is that trusting. He just tells you he's gone at 3 a.m, getting a fucking Wawa, and you're like, I don't have a bet. Same thing with this. It's like, oh, yeah, I got a flat tire, was here. Why is he at these places? Do you not question him? Why were you on 192? Why did you dip out at 3 a.m. with my car?
I didn't know he
this,
did that.
this is 2 times you went to 192. You went to 192 the day she disappeared, right? He's roaming, looking for her south of where she went missing, because supposedly she went missing. And 192 is south of where that is.
And I
not very likely that that's the route she went on foot or abducted, and that him driving around is somehow going to locate her.
And he did tell. I did question that. I was like, when I asked him where he's searching, he said 182. I said, why? That's nowhere where she would be. And he didn't give me a clear answer, and I don't know why I didn't push it. I just thought he was being stupid and oblivious, because I don't see him as the smartest man. Like, I don't. I let him do what he does. But I don't trust a lot of his. Is the word judgment? I'm not sure, but I just don't trust that he makes the smartest decisions sometimes. Like, he likes to act like the smartest man in the room, but I don't think he is.
Do what he does. Meaning?
I let him.
You said, I let him do what he does.
I got that too.
So,
If he wants to just get up and go to the store, I'll ask where you're going, but I won't stop him. Just let him go on his way. I'll let him do what he wants to do.
what do you think happened? Monday to now. You know she's deceased. We showed you pictures that she's deceased. We know that she was probably deceased Sunday into Monday. We didn't see her Monday morning.
I still want to believe she's deceased. I know you showed me pictures, but
for the purpose of this conversation, I need you to believe it because I need you to figure it out. I need you to tell me what you think happened to her.
I think he killed her that night.
How?
I don't know. Could it be possible that he drugged her? Could he have choked her? I just don't know how you kill someone and don't leave a mess or don't leave evidence, or
that's how she died.
I mean, was there a mess? Was there evidence? I haven't gone upstairs. I don't know what you guys have. I barely went into the house today, so I don't know what.
I need to know what you think happened.
She just said it.
I think he killed her.
How? You mentioned drugged her, you mentioned other things. Explain your reasoning behind those assumptions and we'll move forward day by day.
So he had access to benzos, and I think Lunesta.
What are those? I'm not familiar with that.
Benzodiazepines are anxiety medications which relax you and can make you sleepy.
Okay.
And Lunesta, I think, is a sleeping medication, like for insomnia.
They're all about their medications.
So I don't know if it's possible he gave her something and she was drugged. In those photos that you showed me where you're saying she's dead, maybe she was drugged. But if she is dead and it was done upstairs, I could just only imagine that he choked her. I don't know how else you would kill someone and not leave a mess.
How do you think he got her out?
I have no idea, because roommates come in and out of the house at any given point in the morning and we don't know their schedules. They can come in at any time. You guys showed me a picture, I think, of him or her in the car at 7:30 in the morning. My roommate left the house. She's the one who leaves the earliest. She left at 7:45. So like, what if he had waited a little longer? She would have caught him with carrying a body out of the house. How did he do that without being caught or seen?
He's all over the cameras. They have surveillance.
That's what I don't understand, because like,
footage of
did you guys check and see if any of my neighbors have ring cameras?
putting her in the front.
Nothing.
I don't know what data we've gotten from them, but at this point, I need to know what you think happened to her. I don't need you to ask us what we found.
Okay.
What we found has happened. I need you to come up in your words, in your mind. What do you think happened that night into Monday? Because we do not know. I don't know if her murder occurred Sunday or Monday. All we know is that when you went to bed, they went to bed together, and she's no longer here. So I need to know what you think happened to her, how he got her out of the house, where he went, how he got her into the car, what is your thought on what happened.
I think she was killed Sunday night into Monday morning. I'm thinking he carried her out of the house. I don't know how he didn't get caught by any of my roommates or no one heard.
Because it was probably 6 o'clock in the morning.
He was saying he drove around all around town. I'm not sure where he could have gone.
And then him coming home and leaving, and coming home and leaving, what do you think? Knowing that he killed her.
That's suspicious as fuck.
It is suspicious as fuck, but if you're writing a book, what do you write? Let's say this is a fiction novel, right? You're now aware that he killed her, so now you can piece together a story of what happened, right? You don't know the story because you're not him, and you tell me he hasn't told you, so it's not real. So you're telling me what you think.
Yeah.
Right? We know he killed her. We know he drove out of there Monday morning. We know he discarded her backpack in the trash dumpster. We know he discarded her laptop and one shoe, right? So all her property was discarded to look like she's gone. That way he doesn't have evidence with him. They leave. You've been told that they drove around Orange County, Osceola County, wherever it was. We've pieced that together throughout the week, all right? He's told you where, at least in his version of where he was and what he was doing, right? But then you have all these suspicious times of when he's left and come back and he's gone here and gone there. So what do you think he was doing on all these suspicious times? He's roaming 192. What do you think? Knowing what you know now we can play. You know she's dead. You know that we've given you information. What do you think, knowing what you know, he was doing at 192? He was doing here. He was doing here. He was doing in Northport. What do you think?
So him leaving early in the morning and driving around aimlessly somewhere. I feel like he stashed the body at that time. When he came back and then left again. But see, it's daytime. Like, how could you move a body or move something in daytime and not be seen? But like, I feel like he went back to check to make sure he did a good job or to move the body again. I don't know. But him leaving the house multiple times without his cell phone is sketchy as fuck. It's so suspicious.
Which is an intentional act. It's not accidental, so that can play into what you think happened.
Yeah. Do you think phone being on the dresser?
It was intentional. Her cell records and her cell data from her cell phone show it is not common for her to leave her phone at home. It is common for her to go to school with her. No teenager leaves their phone at home. It's what they're attached to it.
She's left her phone home multiple
Her
times.
cell data shows that normally it goes with her, so that's intentional. You know it's intentional because he left his too,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's an accident last Friday, this Monday, was not an accident.
Yeah.
So you think that he dumped her when he was driving around? You think that when he left, he went to check her body?
Possibly.
Okay,
Why would you go back out to 182 without your cell phone? Like,
I don't disagree. So he goes out to 192. We think he may have checked where he dropped her or dumped her. He comes home. He tells you you're just roaming around aimlessly, right?
Yeah.
So that's twice on 192 in one day because he went to look at the house of cards bullshit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then he went to do the roaming to look for her on this random highway that he never goes to.
Okay.
Okay. We go into the next day and the next day. Think of the suspicious things he's done. Tell me what you think he's doing.
Him grabbing my phone and trying to log into his emails, that seems kind of suspicious. What was he trying to see? What was he trying to do? The thing is when he had my cell phone, now that I think back to it, he had something wrapped around it, so the phone was under a blanket, and he was like this. Because I tried looking at the screen at one point, and I could see an email. But
And that was the cell phone we took from you today, or you gave us today.
Yeah. Can you guys tell me if this is true? Because I recall a family member telling me something, like my sister. Was the last thing searched on it Amber Alert?
Her cell phone has Amber Alert searches in it, but I looked through her cell phone last night. I do believe that she may have been clicking on links for Amber Alerts that came through. I don't think she was actually searching them.
Okay.
They could have just been links she clicked on.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if that was him Googling on her phone about Amber Alerts or if that was her.
That we will never know. He is not obviously cooperating.
Can you like, could you guys explain what happened yesterday?
Before that, I need you to continue going with.
Yeah. Where are we at?
Suspicious utilization of your phone.
Of the phone, him disappearing multiple times, him disappearing to Northport. What the hell was he doing? That is suspicious. I mean, now that I know that that's where he went, that is suspicious as all fuck. Why did he go to a storage unit facility? What was he grabbing? What was he trying to dispose of? Or what was he trying to hide in the that to me is suspicious.
Do you put more weight on that than 192?
192, no, because 192 would be something happened in Northport. There'd be no reason he would
Do
take.
you understand what I was asking with that phrase? Putting weight on it? Like, do you feel like it's more suspicious what he was doing in Northport versus 192?
I don't know which one's I don't know which one is more suspicious to me. They both. 192 seems to me like the easiest place he could have dumped her or like figured out where to put her. Unless she was in my trunk the whole time and he went to Northport.
The trunk of your car?
Yeah.
She got a lot of these guesses right.
Didn't you drive your car at some point?
I
Did you
did.
guys sit in your car at some point?
I did. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have probably smelled something, but I didn't. So I'm just trying to think, like, did he stash your body in Northport? No, I don't think so. He was probably hiding something or destroying something. So I guess 192 would probably be the most important right now.
For being in your trunk is oddly specific.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, those of us who have listened to a lot of these interviews and kind of know other things that we're going to find out later on, and then going back and re-listening to it, she's gotten a lot of these details right. When he's asking her, what do you think happened? She said he could have did this. Well, I think that's how she died. I think that was how she really died. And she said he could have had her in the trunk. Well, we know he had her in the trunk because in one of the videos, he drove up to the top of a car garage or whatever, a parking garage of a hospital or something, and there was video that catches him taking her out of the front seat and putting her in the trunk. So, I mean, there is, oh man, it's just crazy. So she's getting a lot of these things right, these guesses right.
The only reason I say that is because from what you guys have told me, he went directly from the hotel to Northport. I don't think he made any stops anywhere in Kissimmee or anything first and then went to Northport.
All we know is what we can piece together through accessible cameras and data. So his movements, his driving patterns, his actions, we can only 100% say what they are if they're on camera.
Okay.
So we can say he went to Northport because the car was in Northport. Where he stopped, where he went in between, that cannot be factual from us if we don't have a camera. It can just be an assumption, which is why I want your assumption, because you know him, I don't.
Yeah. If I fell asleep at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, at the hotel, what was that, Monday night? Tuesday night?
One of them.
I'm just trying to think, like, could he have had time to stop somewhere, wherever he stashed her, and then took her to Northport? I think he had time.
Has he cleaned your car since it came back from Northport? Was he brought it to a car wash? Has he detailed it, paid somebody to come out?
No.
Because you, through your, we call it a fiction novel, you pieced together what you think happened based on a suspicious activity, and you ended with, you think he put her in your trunk and brought her to Northport.
Yeah.
I know I asked you to make assumptions, but now I want to know why. Why is that how we finished this? What is in your mind leading you to believe that is the ending of the story?
Because 192 seems like a really busy strip, and I can't think of anywhere immediately, like, other than going deep into St. Cloud, like passing St. Cloud, like going into Holapa or Harmony, that I could see some stashing the body somewhere around there. But Northport has so many wooded areas, and I feel like, I don't know, he would be familiar with both areas. I just don't know him to ever drive down 182 super far down, like into St. Cloud. But I've known him to drive around all around Northport. see, I don't want to say anything and like lead you guys down to Northport to do a search and nothing's there. I'm just.
We're gonna go everywhere.
We're searching the woods right now, where she's not.
Okay. I just want to be like, I know you guys are like looking at me for the details, but I'm like, I don't want to send you on a wild goose chase.
You know him better than us. You gotta really think. Where do you take her?
I'm going blank. I have no idea.
I feel like you're becoming emotional right now. I feel like you want to tell us.
No, if I knew what to tell you, I would tell you. If I had the truth, I would tell you. I don't know anything.
Jennifer, where do you think you took her?
If I were him and I had to stash a body, but I would never do this. My mind would say to go to Lake Toho. There's a lot of woods there. There's a lot of gators. I don't want to think, but go. No, I know. I just don't want to think about it getting hit by gators. I don't know where she'd be next.
Like I told you, it's going to come to a point where we will. Right? Volusia County Sheriff's Office just found somebody the other day that's been missing for a long time. People get found. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not quick. I'm hoping this situation is today, tomorrow, Sunday, but we will find her. What you need to think about is when we find her, is there an opportunity or a chance that we are going to prove that you did not assist us to your full capability in this investigation? And if that is true, you need to think about the consequences of that. Consequences of hindering a murder investigation or a capital sexual battery investigation could be punishable up to probably the same charges, the same time in jail. I know you know that I don't believe what you're saying, and I know you know that I think you prioritize Stephan. But do you prioritize jail? You see what I'm saying? Like, if we come back and prove that you sat in this room and misled us,
No.
that you didn't lead us in the right direction, or that you assisted, or you acknowledged, or you knew, you're getting a warning from jail.
If I knew anything, I swear I would tell you. He has mentioned, we haven't discussed this. I had no suspicion of anything. He did not tell me any more details of where he went that day other than those shops that I had mentioned. I'm giving you my truth.
On any of the days that he came home after these suspicious outings, 192 trips, Northport trips, everything else, did he change clothes? Did he come home and appear disheveled, sweaty, dirty?
I don't believe he showered. he didn't bring that many changes of clothes with him, so I know he's repeated his outfit over and over. It's possible he could have come home all sweaty and disheveled after the supposed changing the tire thing, but I wasn't home to see that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't see him come home dirty or sweaty or anything like that.
Did he do anything he normally doesn't do within the house around you?
No. No. He was acting very normal, sitting on the computer chair, chatting away with me, talking about not resetting his phone, updating his phone.
It's a long one, y'all. I'm sorry. All of these interviews are long. I really like
Did he
this
carry
talk.
tools in his car to change the tire, typically?
I think he said there was a tire iron in the car and the jack.
Did he bring it inside? Did he leave it in the car? After?
I think he left everything was in the car.
Did you ever go look at his car? To verify that he changed his tire?
I don't think I did.
Never dawned on you to go double check. Except by the time he would have got back from the tire, you were gone, right?
Yeah.
What you told us?
Yeah.
And then she was reported missing.
Yeah.
During that time.
Yeah.
It never dawned on you to be like, damn, did he really change his tire? Let me double check.
No. We got home really late that evening and I didn't even think of doing that.
This is part of our problem. You did so many things and you never questioned it.
I didn't suspect him.
How can we believe some of the stuff that you're telling us or believe that you don't know?
I don't know how to say it. I mean, I guess I'm stupid and gullible and very trustworthy, but I didn't think he'd be the type to do anything like this. I didn't doubt.
But you knew he was vindictive. You described him as not trustworthy with his family. You described instances where you document where he was lying to his family, lying to you, lying to others.
Lying to his family, yes, but lying to me.
You discussed that he wasn't that good of a person. You had to it wasn't this family. You're not describing him in a positive light at all. So this trust, this caring, all this stuff makes no sense because you, regardless of the victimization, describe him as a good person. He's stealing from his parents, right?
But he never stole from me.
You guys have no money, but all he's doing is ordering things, right? He's buying himself things. He's not. You described him as a selfish thief. You even called it a robbery, that he robbed his parents. So you're trusting this dude who you're describing as untrustworthy.
But I thought he was.
What happened to her? Where did you that? I can't fathom that. I can't wrap my head around that.
I think I only asked him if he took her to school. When I called him and told him to come to the office, I asked him if you dropped her off at school, right? Because she never made it. And he said, yeah. And I was like, she never made it. Where did you drop her off?
You guys sat in your car Tuesday night when I was out there. I was out there at least 4 hours. Just you two in that car.
Yeah.
You can't tell me you guys did not have any conversations about this. There's no way.
Other
A
than
reasonable person would have been questioning him. You were the last person with her. What the hell happened this morning? You never did that in that car.
No, I didn't. I remember being on my phone. He was on my phone for a little bit. I know I was medicated.
Medicated.
And I was just zoning out. I wasn't thinking anything of anything. I never asked him. Just asking him that one time to me was, if he took her to school, that was enough answer for me. I don't know. I just wanted to think.
They're big Mary Jane.
Not think the worst, I guess.
Smokers too.
But I just didn't think he did anything. Now I know. But then I didn't. I was still believing everything he was telling me.
Juvenile robbery suspects utilize the excuse of, I was high on bars, I took Xanax, I was blacked out. Right? Every juvenile robbery suspect you interview, I was, in your words, medicated, in their words, high, incapacitated.
That's what I was gonna say. I think they were both addicts. Which, you know, Mary Jane ain't like a big rug to me, but it's a lifestyle when that's all they do is lay around the house and smoke all day and take a bunch of medicine all day and night, and they can't hold a job. Well, then they're not functioning. And I think they were both addicts.
Drunk. It's an excuse to avoid admitting what happened. When you say you're medicated, I can't think of an amount of medication that will numb you so bad to numb the fact that the investigation is occurring right in front of your face for your missing.
Exactly.
So being medicated is just an excuse to avoid answering why you didn't discuss with him what happened. It minimizes your guys' interaction by saying you were not fully coherent with it. Person I know who can sit in a car and watch a bunch of detectives and crime scene investigators and everybody else search her house, seize her house, and be so numb that somehow is not ringing bells, is not overcoming the power of this little medication. There's no way. The human body will overcome that in a big situation. You didn't take enough medication to numb you of the reality of what was occurring.
I mean,
there's no way. Unless you were fully incapacitated, there's no way you were so numb that everything he described to you, everything I described to you was not in the forefront of your mind. You weren't numb. Just like these robbery kids weren't blacked out. They weren't high enough to not remember the robbery. They just don't want to talk about it.
No, it wasn't clicking. It didn't click to me. Like you guys telling me like, wasn't as obvious, like this and that. I still believed the story he had told me, that when we were sitting in the car, I still fully believed everything he had told me. I didn't doubt him. I really thought you guys were going after the wrong guy. I'm like, they're wasting time. The real suspect is out there. She's being sex trafficked. That was my biggest fear, is that she was being sex trafficked. I didn't think that she would actually be dead.
But she thought enough to get him a lawyer.
I really thought you guys were going after the wrong guy.
At that point, from the jump, we've been trying to find her. That has been and will be our biggest priority.
Him getting arrested for victimizing her was an accident. We only discovered that she was a victim because we took his phone.
And I'm like so happy that happened, because if not, this would have continued to keep happening.
Well, it wouldn't have, because he killed her on Monday.
Talking about who she had been found. I don't know why. There's no, I've asked this before, but there's no like map you guys can show me of like with a highlighted route of where he could have taken to see if I could recognize anything or suspect anything.
I can pull up a map on my phone, the areas you described, and we can go through it.
Sure.
You said House of Cards?
No.
House
game rules.
House Cards. It's on Vine Street in Kissimmee.
By Oak Tree.
Map, house game rules, feel free to drag the map around as you please.
That's all of it. Oh my god.
And realistically, Florida has a lot of wetlands, so anything you see that's green may not necessarily be wooded, this may be a rule, but we're looking more for where you think based off of this route, not necessarily just like the green parts of the map.
Yeah. In the back of House Gate Rules, I have access to the lake. That is the one shop I can remember him specifically naming that he was going to that Monday. He said House Game Rules. Did he make it there? I don't know. See, if we ever went down 192 together, it would typically be in this direction towards 535, towards Disney. That's why I find it really strange that you guys say St. Cloud, because I've never gone into St. Cloud with him before.
So you told me you have a friend in St. Cloud.
I do.
I don't know if he knows, but explain to him where she lives, who she is. Explain that relationship to him, because I don't think he's aware of it.
No.
Oh, okay. So one of my really good friends lives off of Old Canoe Creek Road, off Nolte.
Okay.
I don't know what neighborhood though. She's one of my really good friends. She's somebody I know that lives in St. Cloud. She's one of like two people I know that live in St. Cloud. She's hung out with us, as in me and Stephan before. She's come over to hang out with me and Stephan would be hanging out there too, so we would all kind of hang out together. But yeah, she's just a friend.
And you're 100% sure he's never been to her house?
Yes.
Do they have their own friendship? Or is it just that's your friend and the only time he ever talks to her or hangs out with her is with you?
Exactly. Just my friend. He would talk when she was around.
And you just told me about the second person in St. Cloud. Who is that?
Somebody I haven't seen in a long time. Her name is Courtney Brackman. She lives, can you pull up the map?
Mm-hmm.
But he's never been over to her house either.
Search.
She lives somewhere in this area over here. Around here. Lake Lizzie to me is familiar. I would go hiking there often. Well,
There's a preserve there.
yeah, a few years ago, we would go hiking all the time with my friend Courtney, the one who lives right by there.
With Stephan?
No, Stephan would never come.
Now, would you tell him you're going to Lake Lizzie Preserve?
I've mentioned it before, yeah, on the phone.
Okay. When we talked about St. Cloud and, you know, he had asked for your top 5 places, why did this ever cross your mind?
Lake Lizzie?
Any of these places in St. Cloud that you're familiar with?
I mentioned them the first time St. Cloud was brought up. I mentioned my 2 friends that live there. And then, I don't know if I ever mentioned Lake Lizzie. Not sure.
Do you know if Lake Lizzie was special?
She did enjoy going out there.
Was she verbal about that? Like, did she make that known to you guys?
She always told me that if we were to go hiking out there, to let her know, because I've gone hiking without her. But it's been a really long time since I've done a hike down Lake Lizzie with her. That's been at least 2 years. Yeah, those are the only places in St. Cloud that I would know, that I could think of, that he might be aware of, but
But your gut tells us no.
Lake Lizzie, probably not. Like, does he even remember what the name of Lake Lizzie is? Probably not.
Figured it out.
Jen, is it okay if I look up past Cardinals again?
Yes.
Teaching this old dog some new tricks. Silly wabbit, tricks are for kids.
Was he into video games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, into tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer 40K, card games like Lorcana, which is a Disney card game. That's what he told me he was going to go do Monday. He was going to go look for Lorcana cards, and that's why he was going to go to House Rules Gaming. He was just going to make a few stops, and I said, why are you doing that? Why are you wasting time when we don't have money? Like, you don't have money to spend. He's like, oh, I'm just browsing. I just want to look. I want to see what they have available. That's all he said. Every time I did question him, he always had an answer. Do you guys know, like, up until when on 182 you guys found him, see him? Like, how far down?
We just know it's St. Cloud.
So I keep thinking, like, house game rules on 182. Okay, it's got some secluded stuff in the background, or in the back of it. But it's still 182. It's still really busy.
all really busy till you pass me.
It's almost over, y'all. We got our mods fixed now, though. Yay! Yes, yes.
So right now, I'm pretty sure they're still doing your phone. I think. How'd you get here? You're driving here?
I was driven here, but my dad followed behind. I think you guys said my car might be ready.
We'll verify that in a moment. The investigation is still going.
Yeah.
Right, Stephan also is not in charge of murder. Right, just a sexual.
He's not, or he is?
He has not been.
Oh, okay.
He's just been charged with sexual battery. I have a couple questions for you that are going to be on record. They're going to be official. I need you to answer truthfully. Because if they determine that you did answer not truthfully, you can be held accountable for it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear that everything we talked about today in this interview is true and correct?
Yes.
Did you lie to me or the detective at any time?
No.
Okay. Do you currently know, or have you ever been aware of where the body has been since Monday?
No.
Did you have any? Were you aware at any time, whether it be the most recent instance or the first instance, victimization sexually by Stephan? Okay. At this time, you do not know where Stephan went on 192?
I don't.
You do not know where he went in Northport?
I do not.
And you have at no time this week in any conversations with Stephan where he disclosed what he did?
No.
Okay. The story that we talked about of what at one point we discussed that she could potentially have been in the trunk on the way to Northport.
Yeah.
Is that information you know to be true or an assumption?
An assumption.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us before we go check on the phone in the car? We may not be able to answer everything, but if you have questions, we can see if we can answer those questions. It's not your only opportunity. Your only opportunity phase was you saying swear.
Yeah.
You actually don't have opportunity. You obviously have numerous detectives' phone numbers. You have numerous agencies' phone numbers, things like that. So realistically, there will be other options for you to ask questions.
I don't think I have questions.
Okay. I don't want you to think I was purposely an asshole to you.
No, I know.
All
You're
right.
doing your job.
Like I told you, like the sheriffs have probably reached out. You've been in communication with numerous people here. Those are my opinions and my opinions only. They don't reflect Sheriff Nina, the chief of PD, Kyle, any other detectives who talk to you. All right. I personally don't know. All right. We will be here all weekend. We will be here all night. My only hope is that you truthfully did not lie to us. You truthfully don't know where she was, and that you truthfully did not know what was happening to her.
we're at right now. The car is obviously going to be released to you, the Nissan. It requires us to do some paperwork because we did log it into our system. So now that it's in our system, we got to release it properly to you, which is no big deal. It'll take a couple minutes. Because of the high profile. All right, I know you said we can download your phone, and I do appreciate your cooperation with that. But because the same way we did with Stephan and every other phone and digital device we've seized, they're making us write a search warrant out.
It's almost over.
Which really doesn't affect you too much. The search warrant is a legal thing. It's not a you thing. It's not a trust thing. But with that, it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
All right, so I can release your car to you right now. We can go facilitate that downstairs. I cannot make you a promise that that phone will be downloaded by the time your car's ready. What I can promise you is at the moment it is downloaded, if you have left from here, I will bring it to you. Do you have, you're staying with your sister still? Does anybody have your sister's phone number that we can make sure we can communicate with you on?
Yeah. My dad is downstairs, I think, waiting for me, so I can give you my dad's number since he'll be
Whatever
with me.
phone numbers we can have, just to make sure that if we are unable to give you the phone back today, we'll tell my shit out there.
Talking
If we
off
are unable
normal.
to give you the phone back, we at least are able to contact you, and we want to make sure you have the phone to contact us if something arises. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure.
What's Dad's number? What's his name?
My dad's name is
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and just close that out. All right, y'all. Yes, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you liked us, hit the like button. And we've got our mods situated now. If you're a member, send me an email to hillbillycrime@gmail.com, and we will send your link to the Discord. And we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, y'all? Thank you for being here. Thank you for our new member. Congratulations joining the Hillbilly family. And thank y'all for being here and watching this with us. We got a whole lot to get through on this case. Eesh. But it's really important that that we know about what's going on in our communities. All right, y'all. Have a good night. God bless you. Stay blessed. See you tomorrow. Bye.